Ready when you are. We're doing it now.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to Trackless Racing, round 5. Sebring International Raceway. With me in the booth, I'm Fen. Hi. With me in the booth is Philip. Well, Cakes.
That's correct. You nailed it in one.
I did. All right, cool. Wonderful. As we finish up the last bit of practice, it's a bit of a different experience tonight. We're not doing a usual 15-minute heat and feature race in terms of a set time limit. We have a distance limit this time. Is that correct? Do I have that right? That's our difference?
Yeah. This is the inaugural, I don't know if this is going to be a staple on the calendar or not, but I mean, I would not mind if it was, but the track limit's 250 here at Sebring International Raceway, multi-class action, 250 laps at this historic circuit in wonderful world of Florida.
Heck yeah. How are you doing today? I realized I just kind of dove into it without asking. And I now want to know.
I mean, dude, I'm ready. I'm ready. No need to speculate on how my week went because it's going better right now. That's all that matters.
Hell yeah. Love to hear it. Got the driver's briefing going on right now as we get into quality and we're about to get it underway. Let's go over those standings. That sounds like a good thing to do with our free time.
Yeah, yes, that does. That does.
So let's go to these.
Does points. Look like Jaden is saying he was wondering if we could turn our mic audio up a little bit. Now I just turned away to read the chat, so my sound might have dipped a little bit. But with that said,
I think you're fine.
While you're looking,
I'm going up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna start peeking. I don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
However,
these championship standings. Scott Fleming, 190 points. Gian Cardoso's not far off.
No, only 168 for him.
Yeah, and Gian has just been pumping in pretty consistent races this season. And I think Scott is going to have to really watch his P's and Q's on in situations like this one right here because rain is kind of a bit of an equalizer. Mm-hmm. If anybody's watched rain races here recently, Formula One, it can be pretty it can be pretty dicey even for people with quality machinery and a lot of skill. So
yeah, some
going to be
get past the formation lap. Sorry, don't mean to talk
some
to you.
Some can't. Yep, that was a sad thing to watch, but yeah. With GM being that close, I think Scott's gonna have to, like I said, these kinds of opportunities, he's gonna have to play it cool. He's gonna have to be a cool customer, keep that gap alive. And then you got Mark Coyne, Gabe Chavez, Alex Velasco, even Jaden Ledbetter, even Jaden Ledbetter, who has had one heck of a season, y'all.
Yes,
it has been a wild ride for that man. And top 6. I'd say 2 through 6 in general. They're keeping it pretty exciting.
Yes, absolutely. Rest of the running order of LMP3s with Michael Lively, Andrew Monroe, Wesley Griffith, Bartosz Piasecki, Nicholas Alvarado, Peter Hutch, Vincent LaRue, John Toman, Aaron Romero, and John Barry. A lot of individuals there that I think would make for good moving up the order at least. But that is 2 through 6, like you talked about at the start of there, is definitely the people that I think have at least a shot at the podium and the top spot if they keep their nose clean, and Scott Fleming is less successful at doing so.
Yeah. It is one of the formats right now where outside the top 6, like you could pretty much make some moves if you can keep it clean. Well,
we've talked too long about LMP3s as the GT4s are bolted out of the pit lane to go set their qualifying laps. Let's hop over to that. We'll get back to the points in between. Let's get into qualifying underway. Out laps currently being done for a lot of our GT4 Pro and Animal Grid. We're right along with our pole sitter in GT4 Pro, Ethan Hamlet. I don't know if I hit the right button. Bam. There we go.
Yeah. So with Ethan being very dominant right now, GT4 Pro, I mean, sitting on top of that leaderboard, like you were talking about, 250 points is a lot. He is well and clear of Tommy Kogan in second place. But I think everybody needs to keep in mind that Tommy and Henry Garcia, we gotta watch this space here between, I would say, second and fifth. I would even say going far back as sixth, also kind of in GT4 Pro.
Yeah,
So a second to
including
sixth thing where things could kind of get mixed up a little bit. So yeah, it has been a heck of a season for GT4, in my opinion. Ethan has been dominant.
Yeah.
But I've been really enjoying the racing that we've seen in both GT4 Pro and AM categories.
Absolutely. I am as well. Very, very cool, and I love how we've seen the fuel strategy pay off really big for both Tommy and I believe it was Colin Johnson over at Twin Ring or Mobility Resort Motegi.
Yeah.
Which I think that was very fun to see. I'm excited that we are still keeping the racing. We adjusted, race control. The people who put this thing together changed the fuel levels for the rest of the season to really allow for that to still be available, but not as dominant throughout going through the rest of it.
Yeah, and there was some chatter about that, right? Because I think that with going into the feature race, that I think that fuel levels would be kind of tight for people to kind of like maximize their strategy. I think going long is going to be really risky for some folks on the fuel save strategy, but we'll find out.
We will. So, Ethan Hamlet on his first flyer. In theory. Put that away and go over to our sectors. There it is. Finish right along with Ethan Hamlet for a lap at Sebring in the GT4s. And get some times on the board for GT4 Pro and AM. So, it's a human who... Oh, please. I'll fix that.
Yeah, so looking at chat, Jaden is calling out something that's been pretty interesting this season. Even with the dominance of Ethan, a race like this, kind of an opportunity for another GT4 runner in pro category to maybe sneak a win in GT4 Pro. Ethan Hamlet's been pretty dominant in free practice. His free practice times were looking really, really quick. If I remember correctly, I believe we were looking at folks that were probably about almost a full second off the pace, like 9/10. So I mean that's a huge gap, and we know Ethan is very conservative, even with his pace, where it's not necessarily the case that he has to drive the wheels off the car to hold a gap. We could definitely see that sort of tactic here, especially with wet weather being a thing. Navigating the traffic with the LMP3s around a circuit like Sebring's already harrowing enough. Make it wet. And now it's even more challenging. So I think survival and situational awareness are going to be kind of those are definitely the two stats you want to have S tier in for this race.
Yes,
for sure,
absolutely. I think there's definitely going to be a few lockups of LMP3 tires at some point in this race. So having awareness of when that happens and where you are in relation to whatever car that is will be, I think, crucial. Ethan Hamlet not setting purple in all sectors, but in a lot of them to set our first time on the board.
Yep, does seem like that a good chunk of sector of a good chunk of the track, very dominant, but sectors 2 and 3 definitely seems like, and actually Sean Sullivan setting some fast times in sector 6, I believe, and Matt Pyle holding that sector 2 time down. As the times come in, GT4 AM let's talk about the AM folks for a minute.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the AM category, the thing that I'm kind of looking for is, man, it's just the AM category is so tight right now. Like, there is like maybe a 40-point spread between first and fifth
Yeah.
right now. And then when you've got Bruno Clemente and Dylan Hendricks, who have just been putting in, consistent appearances. I think they both have like one drop already for the two of them. Another thing to talk about in GT4 AM, top 6. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Only one driver has a drop round.
Yeah.
And that's Corey Lobner in third. So Corey Lobner could be sitting on, like, his numbers are going to kind of mask things a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the end of the season when we get to that drop round, so people are going to have to really keep their eye on Corey. And again, with how tight this field is, I think this is probably going to be, for Sebring, I think this is going to be the class to watch.
I think so as well. I think it'll be this and GT4 Pro in general. I think are going to be the two that will have the biggest moves after this race because of the distance factor. It's a little bit longer than most of our usual racing, and since it's distance-based and not time, there is no, you do have to factor for how far you go, not how long you run. So I think for both of those, and I think for GT4 in general, that'll be pretty key to getting a good result and then moving up the order in the championship standings.
Yeah, I think folks that I'm really looking forward to watching in the series, really looking to see what Sean Sullivan can do. See if Sean can potentially close that gap down a little bit, and see if he can catch up to Christopher Blue, because Christopher right now is having, in my opinion, an amazing season. Very consistent driver for us last season, and I think that was his first season with us. Very consistent driver in the BMW, and just put in good quality races, good quality results, and has kind of shown up to GT4 AM, especially with some of the folks moving between classes. We've got some promotions and other things going on, but the GT4 AM, I really feel like Christopher Blue's done a really good job. And the thing is, he's done it, I think, mostly with consistency.
Yeah.
However, Sean Sullivan has like some pretty crazy pace in GT4 AM at times. So can he leverage that pace in a place where, drivability and traction are going to be a problem? We're watching him right now. He's sliding all over the place.
Traction is definitely going to be a factor for all of these machinery because of the amount of water that's still sitting on the track. What? Whoa. I'm giving more information from Race Control / Jaden Ledbetter. The manufacturer fight, BMW in GT4 specifically, because manufacturer fight in LMP3 is pretty boring as there's only Ligiers. The manufacturer
Will another manufacturer win LMP3? Who knows?
We'll find out by the end of the season. It'll be tight nail biting the whole way. GT4 manufacturer fight, something we've introduced this season. Mercedes has been on the top step of the podium in that regard all season, and BMW has finally dethroned Porsche after Charlotte Roval last week by 8 points. A 290 from the BMW to the 282 of Porsche. Aston sits at 230 below those two, and McLaren rounds out the 5 manufacturers that we have on the grid here with 135. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out throughout the second half of the season. Anthony Newman, someone we've seen do, I think, very well for his first season in LMP3, has elected to move back to machinery he's more familiar with in the GT4 Pro category with a McLaren as well. Currently sitting, I think, P6, P7. I was right when I said the first time, because he got moved down in GT4 Pro, and he is also running a McLaren. So some help there in terms of the manufacturer battle that we've introduced this season. I think it's a fun addition. I don't think it's something we've touched on much in this broadcast. I think it's something we should include somewhere somehow. But that is.
Indeed.
I wonder if we could do that. I bet we could do that. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in between.
We'll figure it out in post.
Yes, absolutely. But that's where the manufacturer battle is, and BMW has climbed up to P2, the second silver position on the podium.
Yeah.
So we are wrapping up, I think, the last bit of qualifying for GT4s, and we're about to get over to LMP3s. Any surprises for you in terms of where people ended up?
Let's talk about that. Let's look at those best times for Ethan Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's take a peek at Kyle Potter, who isn't showing on the screen. Oh, that's because we're not that far off. That is a little closer than it was in free practice.
Yep.
So I'm curious, and I'm sure the fans of Kyle Potter are just like,
they've got to be
going to start storming the chat with the Kyle Potter hype machine.
Yes,
it's fantastic. Thank you all for being here. Anyway, yeah, I mean, just at the front, Ethan Hamlet, Kyle Potter, Tanner Schiffner. It's not as far of a fight as we thought.
Mm-mm.
And I think that's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, I just feel like there's so many drivers right now that are in the mix. When you start getting down into the AM runners, Bruno Clemente on top with that 27.779 and less than a tenth between him and Corey Lobner.
Yeah.
Again, who we were talking about before, is kind of like he's the only one in the top 6 with a drop round already on the books. It's kind of a bit of dark horse, I think, in GT4 AM. So I think he's someone to watch out for.
Absolutely. And I also love the tight groupings of both GT4 Pro and GT4 AM. You know, Bruno Clemente, who is first in GT4 AM, is 4th overall in the GT4 category.
Yep.
If you combine both of them into the single GT4, he is 4th. And he slots in right between Tanner Schiffner and Tommy Kogan. In that regard, along with Corey Lobner and Sean Sullivan, fit in between those two. That 4/10 of a gap between Tanner Schiffner and Tommy Kogan have 3 other cars in between them to deal with. So like it's definitely going to be a very tight set of battles for GT4 this evening, especially with having to deal with traffic that is not in your class, but that drives as fast or faster than you.
Drivability, like we were talking about, survivability, situational awareness, I think is going to mean more than raw pace, but we'll find out how wrong I am by the end of this broadcast. But the other thing I wanted to call out, Sean Sullivan, we were seeing him before, usually one of the quickest out here in GT4, struggling to get the pace down in GT4 AM, finishing 3rd, 0.02 of a second back from Corey Lobner. Again, a lot of tight stuff going on. Logan Branson in 4th for GT4 AM. Can we talk about Wookie for a minute? Like, that guy definitely put in some work. I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
I am. There's going to be some good battles. He does have William Lewis to contend with, only 0.2 behind him. And we'll see if where that pace lies when it goes from, quality, where you're, full fuel or no fuel, fresh tires, to a, medium fuel to full fuel at the start of both the heat and the feature, and also fresh tires, and how that changes, how this pace changes for each of them. But we were watching, we're watching Scott Fleming get set up to go qualifying with the LMP3 field behind him. All 7 entrants, I believe we have, are out doing their outlaps. Do you want to ride along with Scott Fleming as he goes through his flying lap?
Let's do it. Scott's quick, and I'm very interested to see how Scott manages Sebring International Raceway here. This turn right here in particular, getting ready to go into turn 1 with the spotty rain conditions. That's something that we've talked about, the survivability of a wet weather race, but the one thing we haven't talked too much with the audience about is the conditions being spotty in terms of rain appearing and disappearing quite frequently with the radar on the map right now. Just watching Scott navigate this circuit, so exciting. It feels like the LMP3's on a knife's edge around here.
And you can see how much steering angle gets put in. Sorry, I
don't. No, you're good.
The steering angle that he has to put in that I usually don't see out of him or most LMP3 drivers to get it to turn in the wet is also very interesting. It's, you're trying to push through water to find grip, and then once you do, you immediately see him push it back to kind of the more normal range of motion for these prototype cars. It's much more anxious feeling the way that you're driving moving the steering wheel in the rain for these prototypes.
Yeah, the limits of grip around here are going to be very tough to navigate in a car as sensitive to traction application as the LMP3. As everybody at home can probably tell, there's a significant amount of pooling water on the very extreme edges of the track, and that's going to also make it very interesting for us watching some of these battles on track, because it gives the cars a much smaller footprint to actually, go to toe-to-toe. So people that are going to risk it and go onto a wetter line, how's it going to end up by the time they actually reach the apex of the corner? We're going to find out.
That we
probably pretty often.
Yeah. And then there's also another big thing. Oh, that's a bold. Oof. Oh, that was a crunch. There's going to be a bit of contact there from him. See if he finishes out the lap safely, either close to time, or if it gets invalidated for that contact. It looks like it did. But Jaden Ledbetter set in pole position, 216.534. And it's interesting. I think another big thing to mention and note is the curbing on the sides as well. Even though there may not be pooling on some of it, it's still very dicey to try to get put wheels on the curbing and have them do anything other than just slide on you. TC makes that worse, but it definitely is a hard thing to. It's always a gamble on whether or not you'll come out of that curbing fine, or if your car will be going sideways.
Yeah, the LMP3 is such a tough customer when it comes to the traction control system. Scott Fleming is bailed out. He has no time. Yep. He's bailed out at the end of the hairpin. Is he going to have time to go back to the pits and get out? I think he will.
Yeah, we've got
a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think we've got 8 minutes, so we'll be okay. Vincent LaRue topping the timing board. That 216.0, half a second faster than Jaden Ledbetter.
Yep.
Somebody that near and dear to my heart, Vincent LaRue, comes from my endurance racing team. So I give a brief moment of preferential treatment from the broadcasting booth. Always cool to see him when he's available. It's great that he's able to race with us for this. So cool to see him being the ridiculously talented driver that he is around Sebring in the wet, which I'm sure he's not super thrilled about. I don't remember him. I think he shares my distaste for Sebring as a sim racing driver. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he likes Sebring. I don't remember. I think I share that, but
so Vincent is really putting down some really good times. Somebody who is on the struggle bus right now, though, sitting in third, Gab is 2 seconds off the pace right now, but could have just been a banker, could just be doing a little bit of installation work, trying to get things kind of dialed in before he really goes for it. So we're going to keep our eyes on Gab and see where he can get the 729 here in the last moments of qualifying. Speaking of Gab, currently sitting fourth with 132 points, and that is what is that? That is 12 points back from the hardest working man in motorsport, who is not working hard here at Sebring because he's not here, and that is Mr. Mark Coyne.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to see. I believe that's going to be his first drop round, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep, he is the first. He will be the only person in the top 6 in LMP3 with a drop round. So that is going to be. It's not really going to like again, we're gonna have to start paying attention to people like Mark Coyne,
Hmm.
because with them having a drop round, the math kind of starts to get like a little mysterious,
Yeah.
so to speak. But yeah, this is going to give Gab an opportunity to really make a difference in his battle with Mark Coyne right now.
Hmm.
But the thing is that the thing that's probably more important to Gab right now than his battle with Mark Coyne for third is the fact that Alex Velasco's not here as well,
Yeah.
and they're separated by a point.
That they are. It is 132 from Gab Chavez to Alex Velasquez, 131. And that'll be at least a good bit of breathing room for Gab at the end of the night. As he goes a little bit faster with a 217.4, passing Wesley Griffith.
I mean, if he can clear Wesley and he can kind of like stay on the back, if he can find himself on the back of Gian Cardoso and follow him. Here, I'm going to give everyone a secret tip about LMP3 racing here at Track Limits. If you can kind of like finish near Gian Cardoso in an LMP3 race, you're going to get points. Because what does Gian Cardoso do every time? He gets points.
Yeah.
Every single time he finishes, gets the points. So it's not a bad strategy. Just lock yourself to his bumper and follow him around like a choo-choo train. But it'll be interesting. Nick Alvarado.
Yeah.
Jumping Vincent LaRue. Jaden Ledbetter jumping Vincent LaRue and getting into the 15s. 15-7-1-5?
Yes. I'm going to say 15.80 for Nick Alvarado. Definitely a interesting development, which I'm excited about. It's cool to see the time getting faster for all of them. And we're still waiting on, I think Scott Fleming is our last person to set a qualifying time.
Yeah, and just looking right now at the radar, because I can see the radar through the iRacing UI right now. We are in a kind of like almost most of the spots that we're seeing right now on the radar. Light to medium rain. We are seeing some holes, but we are in a patch right now that is a pretty dense pocket of like light to medium rain sort of like transition. Like we're not quite getting into yellow, but we are in that kind of like deep dark green where you're getting where it isn't quite chucking, but it is definitely it's definitely raining. We got Scott Fleming pulling off.
He sets time.
Looks like he's
fifth
fastest. Yeah. It looks like Scott's got his work cut out for him. Sitting currently on top with 190 to Gian Cardoso's 168. What's Gab Chavez going to do when he comes across the line?
We'll find out.
Yep.
Goes fourth.
Fourth fastest.
Jumping.
Leapfrogs.
Gian and Scott Fleming.
That is very good news for Gab with the 729 crew. And wonder if he's going to park it. He's just cutting around. I think most of the folks who have finished out their laps are mostly done.
I think Gab was the last one on track.
Yeah, I think Gab was the last one on track. So I think with that, we're probably looking at our qualifying being over.
I think so. Let's see if I can hit the
button. That is quite a development, man. With Gab jumping up into fourth fastest. We've got Jaden Ledbetter, Nick Alvarado, and Vincent LaRue. We got a slew of people that managed to qualify faster than Scott Fleming. Scott Fleming is going to have to really put it down during the race, try and take advantage of the wet weather and see if he can, use a little bit of drivability to get around here, get some places back.
All right. You want to take us through the grid?
Absolutely. Would love to. So front row, folks, we've got two Track Limits boys at the front of the grid. We've got Jaden Ledbetter, who is trying to pull his season out of the dumpster, but he's doing really good. He's in first right now, so cross your fingers and toes for him. Nick Alvarado in second place in the 420. We got Vincent LaRue, Finn's teammate. He's in third. He's lining up alongside the Boredom Killing Bus, which is the 729 car of Gabe Chavez. Gian Cardoso in fifth, lining up alongside our LMP3 leader, Scott Fleming, Serial Team 6. And then we got Wesley Griffith in the 62 in 7th. That's your LMP3 field.
Yeah.
Um,
And
Go ahead.
I'll say takeaway for GT4 Pro and GT4 AM. It's going to get a little bit weird here because I think we have a bit of a mixed bag here as they're all together. Ethan Hamlet tops our timing board with I went too far. I did go too far. Let's go back up. There we go. Ethan Hamlet is the start of the timing for GT4 Pro. Second is going to be Kyle Potter alongside Tanner Schiffner. And then we go to first for GT4 AM, Bruno Clemente. Corey Lobner is second there. That is your, fifth, sixth row of the grid. And Sean Sullivan alongside Tommy Kogan back into GT4 Pro. Let's see if I hit the button here correctly. You have Devlin Hunter alongside Colin Johnson. Anthony Newman and Ryan Buchanan are from Pile Driver Offline and Pile Driving Racing. You have Mont Pyle, Logan Branson, kind of on his own little island around all these GT4 Pro drivers as a lone GT4 AM. Kerry Nolan, Henry Garcia, and we got a whole bunch more. William Lewis, alongside John Newman as the pace car is starting to make its move. We're getting ready to form up. Brendan Potts, Ryan Vogel, Christopher Blue, Austin Green, Eduardo Zamora. I'm interested to see how that he's so far down by comparison to where he usually is. But I remember Jaden saying something in the broadcast room that Mercedes are a little slower here. So I wonder if that's part of the culprit. But he is alongside Thomas Arcangelo. And I think that is the end of our running order. So,
yeah. It is. We definitely have a few mix-ups, especially in the GT4 category.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like we are getting ready to go into sectors 2 and 3.
Yep.
Jaden Ledbetter leading the LMP3 field. Looking at the radar as we get ready to go green here, Finn.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some medium rain coming out of the southeast, and it is it's true medium rain. So we're talking yellow bands. So we might have a little bit of a grip issue going to be popping up for these guys. And for the folks at home that don't know, if you're looking at the track, southeast is going to be effectively the back straightaway right before sunset. Like that is where the rain is going to enter the track. So if you're looking at the track map over on the right side, go to lower right corner. That's where that's where it's gonna show up. So that's gonna be interesting, I think.
I think it is, especially as it's a pretty technical sector to add rain to as the where it gets worse. And unless these guys have a little more humanized spotters and a good knowledge of their cardinal directions on the track, they may not exactly know where that rain is going to initially fall on.
And the other part of it too is the thing that is right on the other side of the corner at Le Mans, right? Right on the other side of the wall is pit lane. What's on the other side of pit lane? Turn 1. One of the highest speed corner entries that we have here at Sebring. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these cars navigate once that yellow band rain, because right now they're just in that medium green stuff. Once that yellow band starts to show up, it's going to be pretty interesting. We actually are going to maintain 100% rain, 100% chance for precipitation for close to 50 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, it'll be, I think, our entire heat race at least. It should make for a very, very busy start to the race. So, trying to get some heat in the tires. You see a couple of them weaving just a little bit, which I don't know that'll be super helpful because it is wet. But more, I guess, some is better than nothing, I think is the statement there.
Yeah. And it's gonna be tough to keep temperature in the tires, but the one thing that everybody can kind of rest assured is that everybody's got to suffer through it, so you're not alone. Jaden said that he thinks the heat race is going to be around 34 minutes, which it's 15 laps for the folks at home that don't know. So we're doing the track limits 250 here, which is actually about to start. Do you want to take us to green?
I suppose I can. And we are underway. Jaden getting a fantastic start off. Nick Alvarado and Vincent Leroux following behind. Pretty clean so far, but we're just actually hitting a turn here, so it could change. Looks like everybody survived.
Yeah.
Turn 1 safely. Let's hop over to the GT4 start, because they are just going around the final corner.
Yeah, so they hit that cone, and they're ready to go when they hit the cone, right?
I think that's where they
were. Yep.
That was that
and Ethan gets a jump.
Yep, he gets a very solid jump. Kyle Potter and Tatum Schiffner falling behind, but it is a fantastic start. Excuse me.
What a gaggle of cars going into turn 1.
I didn't see any immediate deaths.
No,
a lot of jockeying for position, too wide as they get through turn 1 into turn 2, but they are zippering down.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the field largely is keeping out of each other's hair.
Yeah.
Looking at the data, I'm going to jump over into the iRacing timing right now. And would you be... Is it too early to say that nobody touched one another in that entire endeavor?
I would love to say that. I think that's the case. But we're into the hairpin, and this could all change.
Yes. Absolutely.
GT4s.
Absolutely.
LMP3s, however, currently just rolling down the back straight. Nick and Alvarado, all sorts of spread out.
Yeah.
Nick Alvarado basically trying to hunt down Jaden Ledbetter. Gets a better exit going onto the back straight. A little shake there out of Jaden.
Yeah, that's going to give Nick an opportunity as they get ready to go into sunset. Nick already putting the squeeze on him.
Yeah, you can see that.
Very smart. See, Jaden ceded that space to Nick, and now they're going side by side as they go through sunset. Everybody's keeping it together, but it also looks like the back end of the LMP3 is kind of just ready to check out at any moment.
I mean, it is wet weather. These are some of the least downforced prototype cars that we currently race here on iRacing, so it definitely makes sense that rear end is a little shakier than, say, the LMP2 or GTP counterparts. I have a crash. Want to go take a look at that real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
See what happened there.
All right.
He's looking clean so far. Oh, nope. Gets a little loose. Oh, and it snaps back on him.
There it is. There it is. Oh, but man.
Holds his brakes.
Holding his brakes, and the GT4 crew just moving along a line on the inside. So Corey's going to be able to live to fight another day. That could have ended in tears.
That absolutely could have, and I'm super glad it didn't. Kyle Potter taking a drive-through.
Yeah.
Taking his drive-through.
I believe that's for a penalty from last race
so.
that he's having to serve. That said, I don't think the Kyle Potter crew needs to check out of round 5 here at the track limits 250 here at Sebring, because man's got pace.
He does.
So
incredible pace. So I think he will be back up and running pretty early on as we're going here. A couple other people who I think Thomas D'Arcangelo, who is behind him, also got tangentially caught up with Corey Lobner's spin, going off track to avoid crashing himself. So he's a little bit a ways behind, but other than that, I think we've had a very clean start so far. Hopping back up to Gabe Chavez in the LMP3s to see how the back half of them are faring. It's getting real sped out real fast for the LMP3, with the exception of Jaden and Nick. Yeah,
it is going to. I mean, Sebring's one of those tracks where I feel like attrition can be a bit of a factor. And as cars kind of start to drop off, we start to see the field start to spread out a little bit. Kind of seeing it a little bit early might seem a little disheartening for the folks at home. But just remember, this is a 15-minute heat race. We're going to get to the 52 lap, or not 15 minutes, 15 laps. We're going to get to the 52 lap feature after this, where that kind of like instinct for survival is going to be way more valuable because there's going to be way more points to come away with.
Absolutely.
So, like surviving right here, you're really just surviving for some really good bonus points. But you definitely want to, maximize your effort and stuff like that. But definitely learn how to survive on a track like this when you get to that feature.
Absolutely. Speaking of survival or a lack thereof, Kyle Potter.
Oh no!
I think he had a similar incident that Corey Laubner did the lap prior. Yeah, just too much input.
Oh, the slow spin.
Yeah, just a slow one. All right, he's able to keep that car moving in the right direction. Loses a couple spots there, and moving up in the order. See another crash. It says crash. I don't know if it says crash, but Scott Fleming. Looks like he, I think, maybe locked it up going into the hairpin.
Yeah, we've seen that from Scott. We saw it in qualifying as well. Had to take the escape a little bit. Was gonna go into the back of, I believe that was Wesley Griffith.
Yeah.
And manages to live to fight another day. So Scott Fleming really struggling out here in the wet weather from the LMP3 championship leader.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a setup issue at this point, or if it's just not lack of familiarity with Sebring's, kind of rough nature plus wet track combination. But we are in I think, a beautiful lull of rain.
Yep. There's there's like little small spots where you're going to start to see that medium rain the dark green rain start to kind of like let up, especially on certain sections of the track. We're going to hit a brief moment right before the yellow bands come where the rain is going to stop entirely. And these guys are going to get a little bit of a break. Track will start to dry out, but then it's just going to start chucking rain again. So it'll just be interesting to see kind of how everyone navigates the changing conditions while we hit this period where the rain's going to kind of switch on and off.
Anthony Newman fighting off, I think, Colin Johnson.
Whoa.
I
believe that's Sean Sullivan.
That is a slow Sean Sullivan.
Yep, Tommy Cogan and Sean Sullivan look slow to get away, and now we've got the field compressing a little bit.
Back half but the better, 2/3 to 3/4 compressing behind that.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened to cause this. We'll jump back with Sean Sullivan real quick. It looks like we're back in that nice 90-degree right-hander.
Yep.
Locks it up, I think, on that. Yep, on that curbing. It's a very dangerous one, and Tommy narrowly avoids him, but slows down a lot of his exit, which I think is what caused that compression that we're seeing now. Yeah.
So what I suspect is happening there in that kind of like I believe in the British term it would be a higgledy-biggledy bit. Anyway, the constant left transition right before you hit the right-hander that heads down towards the hairpin. I wonder if they're putting a lot of load under the tires, and then by the time they get to the long right-hander, it's just they've kind of like maxed out what grip's available, and then it's kind of like you touch anything that even remotely is damp, and the car just wants to spin.
I think so. I think it's also the that thing we mentioned about earlier that I referenced, the curbing there on that inside, along with what looks to be like a little puddle right next to it. I think both.
Yeah, they just drove through it.
Yeah, and they drive through it, and then that is along with what those tires have no more traction to find on top of having load on them, and they just slip out from under them.
So can we talk for a moment about Anthony Newman? Anthony Newman is on a tear.
Absolutely.
Right now, and he is harassing Tommy Cogan, and getting a little squirrely under braking, but it looks like Anthony's driving this car in the wet quite well.
Yeah, I think he's definitely, way more back into his natural element than he was in the LMP3. Not that he wasn't doing fantastically there, but I think he's definitely shown where a lot of his, at least current strength lies as a race car driver. An off track though. Could be interesting. Seems to keep it together. He's going to now defending from Colin Johnson.
And I believe for this race, we have an incident limit before a drive-through lands of, I think, I want to say 50Xs.
That
Because
sounds
of the
correct.
length, especially the length of the feature race.
Mhm.
I think that's going to be something we're definitely going to we're probably going to see a drive-through, like
At
because
least,
it's going to be a lot of 4Xs and 2Xs that I think we're going to see, especially with the folks losing the car. Man, let me tell you, Tommy Kogan is holding up the line. Now,
Yeah.
not saying that like Tommy should just like get out of the way. This is making for some super exciting racing, but the GT4 field, as you can see, is kind of bottled up behind the 55.
But I mean, that's a good, that defensive driving, I think, has gone really well. And, he's definitely keeping both, Anthony Newman, Colin Johnson, a lot of that field behind him. And if he's able to do that for, whether or not he can do that for the whole feature race, I don't know. Or if he's able to find more pace, but it's definitely working so far for that. Let's see, what happened to Vincent Rue? Oh no, let's take a look.
Yeah, Vincent has dropped off on the LMP3 field.
Still,
Looks like he's getting ready to go in. I believe he's going into.
Yeah, same section.
Yep.
Same set of.
Just manages
just
to
keeps
escape.
it. Oh wow.
Wow. Yeah. He almost. And man, he's rejoining right on the race.
Thankfully, good heads-up driving from Scott Fleming, who I believe was the only car that was impacted by that. But Scott Fleming was setting the fastest lap of the race. It has now been dethroned by Jaden Ledbetter, as he is still fighting off Nick Alvarado and trying to get through some lap traffic.
Yeah, so LMP3 is finally catching up to GT4, and Nick Alvarado is trying the autocross line.
Yeah, I just
here in
wanted
sector 1.
See what it was like.
So turns out autocross line is not the line.
No.
And Jaden actually doing a little Tokyo drift on the exit of the hairpin. As we can all tell, the LMP3 is a handful on a dry day. So it makes it like 4 handfuls when it's wet.
Yeah, at least. Seems like Tanner Schiffner had it on.
Got a Sandbags logo on his car. I'm wearing a Sandbags Incorporated shirt right now.
Heck yeah. Let's see here.
Which shout out to Chris Turner in chat, because Sandbags Incorporated, you can go to New World Sim Racing's Fourth Wall site and pick you up a Sandbags Incorporated t-shirt like the one I'm wearing.
Hell yeah. Chris Turner, do you have 4 handfuls,
No. Mainly because, well, actually, no. I think maybe I have like really tiny hands, like really really small hands. So a handful for me is like like 4 gummy bears.
I didn't realize it was that small. Jeez.
Yeah. I don't quite have doll hands, but they are definitely weak.
Are they? Wait, how did like somebody graft them onto you, or like?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm a small guy. I'm like 5'8".
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm also like, I also have just small hands. Like I wear a size 5.5 ring. Like, so it's yeah, I'm tiny guy.
That's
tiny
okay.
Guy.
Pit stops from Gian Cardoso and Tanner Schiffner. Why are you in the pit?
So we're past the halfway point.
Yeah.
Or we're passing the halfway point here in a minute. Gian Cardoso in the pits.
Yeah,
I gotta wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm super curious.
Did he start the race with quality fuel?
I'm thinking he might have, because we are.
Or did he get nailed with the DT? That's the other thing Chris just said. So I'm not sure. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hop over into. Ryan Vogel crashed. We definitely got
a few of these.
Some more stuff showing up here.
Yeah.
Tanner Schiffner leaves the pit lanes. Yeah, I've got to wonder if we're getting hit with some
Some drive-throughs, yeah.
drive-throughs. That'll be interesting to know. Because I know it was like 50 when I looked at the session, but I know because we're dealing with the heat and feature race, they could be like split up. It's possible. But Gian Cardoso back out on track, unfortunately in 7th place.
Yeah.
Gian's not really going to be getting the maximum out of the bonus points here, but
Okay.
oh, that touch is definitely going to leave a mark on Ryan Vogel's number 8. He's getting the TSR AMG up and running again.
Definitely looked like it mostly brought him to a stop. I wonder if there's a whole lot of damage there.
It looked like a pretty, like, I won't say it was a gentle tap. It definitely was a bit of a shunt, but doesn't look like it hit in any sort of place where it would have done something like break the wheel.
Yeah.
It looks like he's actually holding his own further back in the field. It's racing the 228 AMG. I believe that is Eduardo Zamora.
That is.
Chris is like, that's just how they drive in New York. So maybe. I'm definitely getting I'm walking here vibes.
Yeah.
So
Gab Chavez also in for pit stop.
Interesting.
Matt Pyle as well. I think he had an off.
You know what else could have been? I wonder if some folks are dealing with some issues with maybe, I don't know, tires. I don't know. Like we did have that dry moment.
Yeah.
The rain is come back. Like it is definitely back. And it's if I take a look at the graph, we're getting a little bit more of that dark green medium rain, and then we're going to have a period where we get another switch off. But when the rain comes back, we're going to be in a little bit of some yellow bands. Although actually, it looks like as it's starting to approach the track from the southeast side, it does look like it is starting to lower in intensity, like drop in from yellow. I'm starting to see a little bit of green blend in. Luckily for these guys, they dodged a bullet because there is some dark red rain further south. Looks like it's going to just pass the track.
Oh, good. And this fight between Eduardo Zamora and Ryan Vogel is very warm. Heated up.
Yep.
As he's trying to make his way back through. Trying to see what else.
No tire blankets necessary for this fight.
Absolutely not.
The tires are hot enough.
Sorry, I got a couple new cameras to play with this time.
And Sebring is just a wonderful track when you get the cameras, like especially the camera pack that Jaden picked. I think we get a good shot, like the one we're looking at right now, where you got a gaggle of cars going down the back straightaway on the approach to Sunset.
Yeah, Logan Branson and William Lewis currently duking it out for third in GT4 AM. See if I can get the battle box and have it do something cool. Yeah.
Something you might want to go check out. That battle, Scott Fleming. Well, Vincent is, he's fluctuating a little bit. Did get down lower than 4/10, back up to about 6/7 as he's trying to catch Scott Fleming. Scott Fleming now going down the start finish straightaway. He's going to pass around the number 8 AMG as they go into turn 1.
And he's in third.
Yep. Scott Fleming has. Well, we had people go to the pits.
Yeah. What has happened to cause everybody else to go to the pits and not?
That is a question.
And Vincent LaRue?
That is going to be one of the questions of all time. Man, that battle for third in class is pretty good stuff, though. That is for sure. Now that said, we are on lap 9.
Yeah. See if I can ride along with Vincent LaRue and see how he's handling this. Where's my mouse cam?
Ooh,
oh yeah.
That's spray.
That is spray.
Also, 236 does go a little sideways. Oh man, Scott Fleming's trying to find his way around him. Is the rain light auto on the LMP3, or do you have to turn that on?
That is automatic. It is automatic for, I think, every car that has rain enabled. The session is considered wet. They automatically turn on. So.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A nice close-up shot of the gearbox of the Ligier.
sectors between LaRue.
Taking some alternate lines. So LaRue does seem to have the advantage, Sector 2, Sector 3, relative to Fleming. Fleming does seem to be a little bit stronger on the back half of the track relative to Vincent. So navigating around the 530 of Christopher Blue, our GT4 AM championship leader.
He's currently sitting in 4th. Overall, I wonder what happened to Logan Branson, because I was saying we're seeing a fight for 4th in GT4 AM. We'll come back to this fight in LMP3. I want to see what happened with Logan Branson here real quick.
Yep.
I believe he gets him. Well, I think he locks it up. Oh no, it slides. Rather gnarly.
Oh man, just a full hydroplane and then into the wall. Oh no.
Thankfully that's a tire barrier, but
I think he might be okay. I think he might be all right though.
I don't know.
The back end looks a little less than happy. I think this right here is just him trying to get it back onto the track without compromising people's racing.
Yeah.
And he's going into... Oh, I do see a little bit of a wobble there. He might be dealing with some damage.
I think so. I think that back right is really unhappy. Or sorry, excuse me, that back left is really unhappy. That's what he's dealing with. So he goes into pit lane.
Yeah.
And this fight between these two has not gone anywhere. It has more lap traffic to deal with.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy right here. And we do actually have an AMG sliding off there at the hairpin.
Yeah.
Manages to keep it together. So Ethan 18 seconds on Devlin Hunter. Devlin Hunter in second place. 3 seconds ahead of Tommy Cogan.
Up 6 positions.
Yeah.
He's just kind of off on his own. There's Tommy Cogan in the background of that shot. We're following along Devlin Hunter right now. The P3 fight and LMP3 is just now passing them.
Yeah.
And it is chaos.
Oh,
chaos is broken out on the back half of Sebring.
Yeah, we are at lap 10. 22 minutes have elapsed. Close fights in all 3 categories going on right now. Right now, this Vincent LaRue, Scott Fleming fight seems to be the one that's got the most action going on, although Anthony Newman was also really close to Kerry Nolan, and I believe he has found his way around Kerry Nolan. Kerry Nolan actually fell below William Lewis, so I'm kind of curious what happened to Kerry. Looks like he might have had a moment and went off track. Oh yeah. Just that's all you need right there. That little touch of grass.
Oh yeah.
Got a Porsche over there just flinging dirt clots all over the back straightaway.
Wow. So all right. That's Kerry Nolan's endeavor. I think that was his car I saw go sliding earlier. Really interesting lines. Anthony Newman and trying to make his way, catching up to Sean Sullivan.
Yeah. I think William Lewis is the top Porsche right now in GT4 AM.
Colin Johnson.
Right?
Nope. Colin Johnson. Is our top Porsche. But it is second. William Lewis is second. He's sitting at P4 in GT4 Pro. Oh, that's a Wesley Griffith off. Rejoins safely, it looks like.
Yeah.
I know he was hunting down Vincent LaRue and Scott Fleming.
So Tommy Cogan getting a little bit of a breather here in third place. Colin Johnson in the 73, 2 seconds back. And Tommy's got 2.3 seconds to catch Devlin Hunter. Devlin Hunter's actually having a stellar race, finding himself in second place in the 808.
Definitely, he spoke too soon. Tommy Cogan spinning in the background there.
Oh, that is going to cost him some. That is going to cost him some spaces,
Absolutely.
and he's just got an absolute gaggle of cars coming.
Yeah, no room, and Gian
Oh,
Cardoso
and
trying to avoid him.
And Tommy just floors it to get over to the other side of the grass.
Henry Garcia, Ryan Vogel also passing by him.
That is going to put him right now. I mean, he's 8th in. He's in the last points paying spot in GT4 Pro.
Dude, it's fair.
So we'll see. We'll see. Actually, I think it's in the overall is how they're scored. So he may not be in the overall in 8th position, which is the last points paying spot.
I don't think so.
But
I don't think he's in the points, I should say.
Yeah. But still, if he can try and get some spots back in these last few laps. I mean, we've got 3 laps left after this one, and I think he could potentially, salvage a good qualifying spot for the feature race.
Absolutely, and if nothing else, he at least gets another shot at it, which I think is one of the things we really enjoy about. At least I really enjoy about the format this season of that heat and feature spread. So, Anthony Newman.
We got Nolan in the pits.
I wonder if he has
I think this has to be for drive-throughs. Although actually he stopped.
Yeah, he stopped. I wonder if it's a fuel thing. He didn't get enough.
Maybe.
Fuel.
You know what? I didn't. That might be it here. Jaden was talking about this. We're at 26 minutes.
Yeah.
I really wonder if the fuel is what has caught people out, and I think maybe we might have a situation where someone like Gian Cardoso is doing an undercut to try and basically get himself set to run a full fuel load to the end.
Car is definitely fishtailing like it wants to be, so it makes sense.
Yeah. We're actually getting into the part of the rain where everything's switched off. A lot of the yellow band has downgraded to like the dark green medium band. So I think in terms of the intensity, what we might see for the rest of the heat race, it's going to be kind of similar to what we've seen so far. Okay. But we are definitely in a really noticeable patch where the rain has stopped.
Yes.
So the track will start to dry a little bit.
You can see that the sun, you can see that little bit of gray of the clouds that are starting to roll in on that back corner that we just passed through with Scott and Vincent. But I think it'll be, we'll see the lines dry out. I don't know if it'll be enough to put on dries, especially this late in the heat race. But it'll be interesting to see if the track dries out at all in between heat and feature. So, Ethan Hamlet in the pit lane. I wonder if this is for fuel as well. I'm thinking it might be.
Yeah, it still says track is moderately wet, so it is going to be. I think it's going to be like this to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. At least at the end of the heat. Why they not?
Oh, interesting. So Ethan on the jacks for a brief moment, and I believe he's about to lose a spot to Devlin Hunter.
Yeah, and
Devlin Hunter is going to. Yep, and Colin Johnson. He's going to inherit. We're going to get more GT4s, but if this is for fuel, these guys are all going to have to pit. Actually, there's a gaggle of GT4s coming in. We are definitely hitting some sort of like fuel limit here.
I think so.
We're just so used to like thinking about this in terms of time.
Yeah.
That just thinking about this in terms of laps has completely just wrecked our calculus for understanding how these stints work.
Yes. It also is wrecked by like concept of time. I'm like, oh yeah, it's 15 laps. That's not that much. And then you realize, lap times for the LMP3 is 2 minutes and 13 seconds. So it's half an hour for the heat race. And then it's, so I'm like, oh, it's a nice, easy 20-minute. They can go in, get out, and you don't have to worry about it. No, they do have to worry about it because we have another 10 minutes of racing to do. So, Ethan Hamlet in and out. Who else was in? Henry Garcia, Ryan Vogel.
I did see Christopher Blue in there. He's still showing on the stats in fourth.
Yes, so that is correct.
Yeah, so with the pit stop rotations that have been happening, Christopher Blue's going to hang on to that fourth spot. Sean Sullivan did look like he lose some ground to Bruno Clemente. He's dropped back. But he does seem like he has good pace relative to Bruno because he's catching back up to him pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. And, Bruno Clemente has a purple Sector 1, but in the back half of, I think, the more technical sector where the McLarens and their mid-engine, I think, will shine more, is going to be throughout here to the end of that back straight. I wonder if they can make up time there.
Scott Fleming in the pits.
Oh, I wonder if I'm guessing he's doing his fuel as well. It's looking like it. They only have 2 laps left.
Yeah.
Wesley Griffith also in. It looks like they're going for a splash and dash.
Could you imagine if somebody did like the gnarliest fuel save strategy and didn't pit during the heat race? That would be wild.
You know, if anybody was going to do it, I would put it my money on Vincent LaRue. Because we saw him do the mega one stop in Long Beach.
Yeah. And he hasn't stopped yet.
And he has not, no. He has 2 laps to do it in.
Ledbetter, LaRue, Alvarado have not stopped.
Yes. So it'll be, I'm curious if they're going for it.
And Jaden was talking about how it was going to be tight on fuel, especially for the LMP3 in the heat race. So kind of curious if there were some moments where you could do like a fuel save strategy and have that sort of pan out for you.
Devlin Hunter, Sean Sullivan, Bruno Clemente, Anthony Newman.
Whoa! Off track.
Oh, sorry. I looked away for the wrong moment. Off track.
Yeah, I believe that was on the exit of Tower.
Yes, it is the exit of Tower. The same corner that caught him out, I think, a few laps ago at this point. I think he got into that same patch of water and then ended up sliding off. I think saved it before he hit the barrier again. So.
Nick Alvarado having a moment, and now Vincent LaRoe's back into it as they exit the right-hander onto the back straightaway towards Sunset.
A little bit of bumping there. I wonder if that was full-on contact or...
I believe there was good side contact, but I don't think it was enough to really damage anyone's car. Nick had the kind of like worse exit, and Vincent able to just kind of like take advantage of it as they go down the straightaway.
Jaden Ledbetter is in. I'm wondering if Vincent LaRue also dives in.
Yep. Here goes Vincent and Nick.
Stays out.
Nick is on the fuel save strategy, maybe?
I want to say so. Whether or not it pays off is going to be the question.
Yep.
Because he is now back in second. I'm curious if he started the strat early enough to where it paid off for him, because he is running pretty slow. Let's see how far. Ooh, Vincent lost a bit of time there to Scott Fleming because of that, and is going to get passed by
Gian Cardoso.
Yeah.
Again, who we were kind of confused. We were like, why is Gian pitting this early? What is going on? It's like, yep, Gian's just like, you know what? I can do math, guys. Like, I done figured this out.
You knew what lap he had to stop on in order to make it to the finish.
Yeah.
We all just didn't understand that there was going to be a pit stop in the heat race.
So let's real quick, because we do have this is the final lap. This is the final lap. And right before we get to the phase where Jaden comes across the line, I do want to report that there is a 0% chance of rain by 11:15 a.m. in-game time. It is currently in the 10:45 a.m. in-game time. So the rain is about to shut off completely inside of 30 minutes.
I wonder if it's going to happen in between the heat and the feature. Corey Lobner also in. I think everybody is now completed a pit stop for the GT4 class as well. Tommy Kogan, excuse me, has not.
Tommy is, yeah, I wonder if Tommy's going to find a way to pull the fuel save strategy. Pulling a rabbit out of the 55 Aston Martin.
Ryan Vogel have found their ways into crash situations as well. Real quick, Jane Ledbetter, rounding Sunset. Come across the line. Have two good races.
Yep.
Back to back.
Jaden's going to take the feature, and then he spins and does some weird stuff. I really hope those X's don't carry over for you into the race, Jaden.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this out loud. Hopefully you can hear me. He then puts it into the also if everybody has not finished the race, you can get black flagged.
You can. I was concerned about that for a moment there.
Yep.
Scott Fleming,
but I believe he's okay though.
Yes. Vincent LaRue finding his way around Gian Cardoso in the last couple laps, or a couple corners of the last lap. Taking the checkered flag as well. Ethan Hamlet, if I can hit the buttons fast enough, is coming down the back straight. Will be the first of our GT4s to finish. Probably.
Tommy Kogan with the no stopper. Is that about to happen?
I think it is.
Tommy Kogan and Nick Alvarado, the two no stoppers. Oh, wow.
22-second gap between Ethan Hamlet and P2, Tommy Kogan.
Wow.
And it looks like he will fuel save successfully. Take home P2.
Which is going to give him an excellent qualifying spot going into the feature.
Yes.
He's going to line up right alongside Ethan going into the feature race. And depending on the time when the feature race is going to start right now, there is no rain in the forecast.
No.
So we might be just going through a wet track that's going to be transitioning to dry.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll find that out once we get the time lapse that happens after the race is over.
Yeah.
What other stuff did we see? What's the deal in GT4 AM?
GT4 AM, I think Sean Sullivan came on P1. Bruno Clemente not far behind. Chris Blue rounds out our podium. And then we have William Lewis, Logan Branson, still coming home fifth. Good finish for Logan, even after that spin, though being chased by Eduardo Zamora, excuse me. And then Corey Lobner, Brandon Potts. Who else we have? I think Austin Green. No, that's Austin Green in GT4 Pro. John Newman and Thomas D'Arcangelo for GT4 AM.
Yeah. And we are getting set up now for the feature race.
Yeah.
We're getting geared up for it. And
here's our final heat results.
Yeah. Jaden Ledbetter. Very good win, especially running out of gas going down pit lane, as he says in chat. Wow. Vincent LaRue with the even with the spin and stuff like that. Fourth place finish. This is a good points haul. Scott Fleming had the recovery though.
Mm-hmm.
That man was struggling with this car around here in the wet, and it seems like he managed to put it all together here at the end.
Absolutely. I think it's a good place to put him for the feature, especially if the track feels like it's drying out at all. Let's jump in alongside Gabe Chavez real quick. Take a look from what he's seeing there in the cockpit and seeing if the track looks any drier. I think the answer is not yet, but maybe over the course of this race.
No, it's still going to be moderately wet. There is a 0% chance of rain for the rest of the time. We are 0% chance from 11:12, which is where we are right now, all the way to 3 p.m. So we're well within a situation here where we're going to be in these drying conditions. There's going to be a transition period for these guys. I'm kind of curious if the play is start on dries and just try to suffer through the transition and be on the prime tire for the rest of the race.
I don't know. It looks a little too wet to be running, and with how much Gab Chavez is working that steering wheel, I think it's still a little too wet for dries to start. I think you definitely will have people who will pit early to take dries once heat has been built up and there's a dry line available to them.
100%.
But with how much he's working that steering wheel, I think on wets right now, I don't think that would be a safe choice. Now, I may be wrong. But if, racing that I don't know. I wouldn't put it on dries just yet.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see that early pit stop to take dries.
So with the heat results that we got pulled up, what do we got over in? So with GT4 Pro, I mean, Ethan was pretty dominant, but man, that field looks really tight.
Yeah.
In GT4 AM. I kind of wonder what it's going to be like in these conditions. Actually, the track looks like it's drying relatively quick as we get ready to go into the race here. And I'm going to look right now. It still says 11:14. Again, 0% chance. Track's going to be drying. GT4 AM. What'd you think of the way their race ended?
I think it was interesting. I think the compression they got from Tommy, which makes way more sense now with that being a fuel save strategy. Definitely, I think that helped keep it very interesting for them. I'm curious to see how that works going into the feature and how they are able to capitalize on that.
Yeah. Does look like we're girding up.
It does. Let's see.
So we did have a good flip around in the order. We do so in GT4. LMP3 looks very similar with the exception of Scott Fleming kind of like surging forward and on that second row in LMP3. While they're gridding up, let's go through the GT4 field because that one is going to look a little bit different to everybody at home for sure.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Oh, too far. Come back. Let's see. Starting off with Ethan Hamlet still on the kind of front row. Tommy Kogan with the zero stop strategy, putting him in second place. I think it's a very good starting point for the feature alongside Devlin Hunter. Colin Johnson rounding out the top 4 GT4 Pros before we hop over to GT4 AM. Sean Sullivan taking home a rather fantastic heat win for GT4 AM. But I think he was pretty close behind was Bruno Clemente and Christopher Blue in second and third there, respectively.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to be.
Too many.
I mean, it's like we were talking about before. The conditions were mixed, and we definitely saw it with how the finishing order is kind of like a jumbled up, bit of a mess in GT4 Pro and AM. But man, there's some really interesting stories that kind of like pop out to me relative to those results there, especially with those GT4 AM front runners really mixing it up in the GT4 Pro field. Sean Sullivan in particular, again, we were talking about it before in the broadcast. He has pace. And with the track drying like this, and if he's got pace unlocked in that McLaren, I think he's going to be a tough customer.
Yeah. I think he very much is. And I think it'll be interesting to see who is able to come out of this best.
Yeah.
I would love to see if Corey Lobner is able to have more consistency here.
Yeah.
Because he had fantastic pace at the road, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I think he absolutely could be fighting with Sean Sullivan and Bruno Clemente for a podium finish alongside Chris Blue in GT4 AM if he's able to find the pace. I think just be a little, just be in the right place at the right time a little more. Brandon Potts as well. Kyle Potter, I think, has made a good recovery so far, sitting. I think he's. Pull out the timing tower real quick. Kyle Potter.
Kyle ended up finishing. Yeah, he's down in. What is that? In the overall, he's showing up for me down in 27th.
Yeah, but he is
losing one spot relative to. Kind of like his relative position in, I believe well, no, he actually started on alongside Ethan, I think, on the front row.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very interesting to see him move up through the field because he's definitely got some not slow boys. Ryan Vogel was actually kind of quick in the feature race, ran into a little bit of bad luck. I think that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think he also. I think if he can get a little bit more consistent with it and doesn't have a either a spin or get involved in a crash. I think we'll see him, Kyle Potter, and Matt Pyle, to maybe a little bit lesser degree. I'll move up the order, I think, a little bit more. Let's see what else. That is and then John Newman. I would love to see, I think, have a great race here. I think he's able to keep it consistent, and then also has does a peak fuel strategy and picks over the time for the crossover, because I think that'll be vital here as we go to dry racing here in a little while. The crossover point, I think, is going to be big for a lot of these cars, especially a lot of the LB3s particularly, but the field in general.
Yeah, speaking of which, we should talk. It does look like we have some dry tire runners right at the beginning. Scott Fleming, Wesley Griffith. We have Sean Sullivan, Christopher Blue, William Lewis, Anthony Newman, and Austin Green are your dry tire runners as we get ready to start 52 laps here.
Yes.
To finish out the feature race here at the track limits 250 at Sebring International Raceway. I think we're getting ready to go green.
I think we are. Follow them around the start-finish line, going through Sunset Bend. Pace car will pop off, and we will go racing. Pull out and then it's whenever Jaden wants to launch it, he launches it early.
Yeah, he gets to that that pit cone where they're cleared to go racing. Pace car comes out of the way, and he immediately mashes the throttle. And away we go. Nick Alvarado staying close with him, although he does look a little squirrely.
Scott Fleming falling through the order, I think, trying to baby those dry tires like we talked about.
Yeah.
Clemente, Sean Sullivan jockeying for position as the GT4s come across our finish line, and Ethan finally jumps away.
So, front runner Ethan Hamlet, I believe, on the wets right now. As the track is still considered, I believe, lightly wet. So we're actually going to be close to the transition point, I think, here soon.
I think so as well, especially once they build a dry line. So I think that's the thing that they're lacking right now, and why I think the wet was the right choice, at least to start, is that they don't have really a dry line to drive on. And once they do, then I would imagine that we'll see a good handful dive in early, swap over to dries to run that dry line and get good time there. But we have a litany of crashes, I think, coming off the start of this for GT4 AM. Sean Sullivan, Matt Pyle, Thomas Arcangelo.
So it's just on that exit there, right out of turn 3, and unfortunately, looks like the Pyle driver of the 12, Kyle Potter, gets into the rear end of him, and then he goes into the rear end of, I believe that was Sean Sullivan.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's a tap and a spin. Oh, that is just unfortunate driving there, man.
I want to back up a little bit more and see what happened. Let's see. Go back here and we'll see. Nope.
See, I just don't understand that rejoin.
Yeah.
Like, what was going on there, man?
All right, let's see. Kyle Potter crashes as well, according to this. And
yeah, because he goes in the back.
Sean Sullivan spins and pushes. Okay, Kyle Potter pushes Matt Pyle into Sean Sullivan. And Sean Sullivan kind of spun on his own.
Yeah.
And then there's that rejoin I don't understand, where he retaps the side of. Oh man, we've gone way too far. Scott Fleming also having a crash. On his own in 6th with these dry tires, and I think he's just fighting them. You can see that car going all over the place. I'm just trying to get it stopped. He keeps it out of the wall.
Yep, so I believe that's at Tower.
Yes,
and he's back on track. So just trying to survive the transition. We got 9 minutes elapsed in this race. 0% chance of rain for the rest of this race weekend, effectively. And then this track is just transitioning very slowly, and we can see that the folks that are out on the dry tires, they're struggling.
Jumps to pits. Ooh, something happened there.
Jaden's into the wall. That front end did tap.
Oh, goes away. Here's the thing, the actual incident here. With Nick Alvarado, and I think just gets loose. Yeah, gets loose and just slides across into the wall.
Oh,
that rear.
That's a broken. That rear right is broken, and just like that, Jaden Ledbetter's good luck just went poof.
Yeah,
and he slides it into the wall, takes it to the pits. Going to get that fast repair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be able to change tires and take the fast repair. We'll find out.
I don't know either. I don't know that it'll be. I think it'll still be on wets. William Lewis also sliding off. Oh no, yeah, separate of a spin from, I believe that was Anthony Newman on his own. And the curbing still catching people out. It is not dried off enough yet to be usable. Devil Hunter, Tommy Cogan. We're running through crashes for a little bit. I apologize. Tommy Cogan, Devlin Hunter also crashing here.
Just gets into the back end of him.
Yep.
And then the slow slide is initiated.
Ugh.
And that's just unfortunate for Tommy because that's just going to put him in the back of the mix. But, we've got 2 hours of racing here.
Yeah.
Practically. And look at that. Look at that AMG just shooting off to the side.
Logan Branson trying to avoid, I believe that was, hitting anybody else. Ethan Hamlet on his own, on an island now. Colin Johnson, 3 seconds behind. Bruno Clemente right behind him as well. The LMP3 field. Nick Alvarado, Vincent LaRue. Kind of your front two runners. Gab Chavez, sitting there in the background alongside Gian Cardoso. And it definitely looks like all the ones with wet tires have really paid off.
Yeah.
Scott Fleming.
The folks on the wets, they are. Scott Fleming's actually going to the pits.
Yes.
I hope he's not changing to wets to then come back in and change to dries.
But
later.
he looked like he was fighting that car to get it to turn. So and we've got, like you said, 2 hours, so plenty of time to make up, I think. But in the world of GT4 Pro, Ryan Buchanan, Kerry Nolan, Devlin Hunter, and Tanner Schiffner all battling it out for, I believe this is going to be P3 overall.
Yeah, P3. And Ryan Buchanan having a really good race here after the start in the feature. Ryan's kind of been struggling in GT4 Pro a little bit, but seems like he's gotten off on the good foot here at the start. Ryan Buchanan actually sitting 14th in GT4 Pro with 55 points. So a good result here could definitely turn things around for his season. Could see him maybe even getting within striking distance of Stephen Wallace, who's sitting in 10th with 74, who's not here.
Absolutely. I believe that's very possible. We're riding along with Ryan Vogel. Oh, and that's a spin out of, I believe that's Tanner Schiffner.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Couldn't get the car stopped in time.
Ryan Vogel's...
Is his front end gone? I bet his front end is toast.
No, but
still there.
It definitely doesn't sound like it's running right.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have broke wheel. And not sure what happened with Tanner Schiffner.
I think he just self-spun. Let's take a look at it. We have the ability to see real quick. Coming into... don't know all my corner names correctly.
This is going to be in...
Oh, no, he gets spun by Henry Garcia.
And then T-boned.
T-bones him. Oh.
Well, the good news there for Tanner is the kind of damage he probably took, not going to be terminal, although he did just back into the wall. So hopefully he's still got a wing on that BMW.
And worst comes to worst, they do have the fast repairs. So
yes, they do have fast repairs on offer.
Three-way battle for third in GT4 Pro has become a two-way battle between Ryan.
Yeah, it definitely spread that field out pretty quick.
Ryan Buchanan, Devlin Hunter battling out for fourth.
We're hitting the transition point. Look at the purple. Look at the purple lap starting to come in. So we're hitting that point. Ryan Vogel getting involved in that accident might have been maybe a bit of luck in his favor, because if he jumps on the dries right now, he might be one of the first GT4 runners on dries that can actually put it together. Christopher Blue, he's the lead GT4 car on dries right now, sitting in 25th overall. And he is not even in the top 5 in GT4 AM right now.
But that doesn't surprise me, given how wet the track was, at least to start. I'm wondering, let's ride along with Vincent LaRue as he's tracking down Nick Alvarado. I want to see how much wheel movement they're still putting in. That's still a lot of spray coming off of Nick's car. You know, we're hitting faster, but I don't think it's fast enough yet or dry enough based on that spray to take on dries.
One thing I will say real quick, let me jump over into the data. What I'm curious about is you're on board with Vincent, and we're in that feature race. Just to give you a reference point, they're already lapping around 1.5 to 2 seconds faster.
So track is definitely drying.
Yeah.
That makes sense, given the nature of the sun and all that. But I don't know that it's with how much spray is coming off there, I have to imagine they're still at least biding their time to be back on wets or stay on wets for a while longer.
Was that
good.
a touch?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a touch, but they both walk away from it very well. Good.
Oh, there's a spun car. Or no. Sorry, that looked like a spun car. It's actually Christopher Blue in the M4, and he's keeping it. Man, that rear end is so squirrely in the M4 right now.
See how much work he's putting into the steering wheel here, up on the left-hand side. Underneath.
Oh, look at how he's lifting going into the chicane here.
Yeah.
Although he's going to let Vincent around. He's just being ginger.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the name of the game for these. If you're on dries, is to just baby it until you can start really pushing when the track dries out. And this field has spread out quickly. Vincent LaRue, last lap, set the fastest lap so far with a 2:11.72.
Yeah.
So, wow. I wonder if they're going to go faster this time around.
So Christopher Blue, I'm watching him because he's 8th right now. He's 11 seconds back from DiMarcangelo, or DiArcangelo. Let me look at, Thomas is on wets in the 5:30. So I'm curious now. Sean Sullivan actually setting his personal best with a 2:29. So we're starting to hit that transition point for GT4s. I think I'm gonna look real quick at.
Ooh, Scott Fleming back in the wall.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Scott. Last lap for Ethan was a 24. Oh yeah, Christopher Blue. Never mind. Yeah, Christopher. Well, wait a minute. No, Christopher Blue was a 29.
Yeah.
Ethan was a 24. Where is Sean? Or not Sean. Where is Bruno? Bruno was a 26.
Yeah, these wets I think are still safer, and therefore
they're still the
prime.
prime. Yeah. They're still the prime tire to be on. So.
there's 4 LMP3s currently on the lead lap. Vincent LaRue.
Yeah.
And Nick Alvarado trading paint, I think, once again, trying to get through some lap traffic. This fight is heating up. Battle for 4th, though. We'll hang out with these guys for a little bit.
I'm going to continue watching the timing and scoring information as people continue to set green laps pretty much across the board between LMP3 and GT4.
Oh, yeah. Definitely the track, like we've been talking about, is definitely drying out. You can see it get faster. Yeah. Nick Alvarado has a little bit of a shake there going wide. which allows Vincent LaRue to take P1. Now, see if he is able to keep moving forward.
Looking, so Matt Pyle setting a 26.26 last lap on the wet tire. Christopher Blue set a 26.78 on the dry tire. So we're getting close. Yes. Ethan Hamlet was a 25.37 now. So I suspect either within the next 2 laps, you're going to want to be on the dries.
Mm-hmm. I think, it's the next 2 or maybe 3. Was Vincent back up there, or was it just... I think he was avoiding a lockup and ran a little deep as a result.
Yeah.
So he's now given P1 back to Nick Alvarado, and this battle just keeps going back and forth between the two. Brendan Potts, Tanner Schiffner, and Tommy Kogan all battle in and out for mostly positions within their own, not even within class, just overall GT4 positions. So, I know Tommy's nursing a wound from early on, which is probably I think why he is where he is in P9. Tanner Schiffner not far behind him from a similar result, or similar incident, I should say. In the middle of this is LMP3s trying to get by. And the track is getting very spread out.
Yeah, I think the part that we're going to see this GT4 field come together and compress down a little bit is when we start going to those pit stops to switch over to the dries, waiting for Christopher Blue to come across the line. He's gotten around Thomas DiArcangelo, who's on the wets.
He's coming down the back straight now.
Yeah, he's coming down the back straightaway right now. So everybody behind Christopher Blue in GT4, Christopher Blue, Sean Sullivan, Austin Green, Anthony Newman, all on dry tires, all trying to get themselves established. So yeah, I think we're getting close to that inflection point.
25.
He comes across the line. He sets a 25.22. He's running faster than Ethan Hamlet right now.
By a 10th.
Yeah, by a 10th. I mean, Ethan's an alien, but that's
faster.
I think that's he's going faster than Ethan on the dry tire. I definitely feel like if folks are wanting to get on the dry tire, the time is now.
Yeah, I definitely think it's within the next couple laps as we kind of see this transition point really take hold. Sean Sullivan with that 25.11 as well, I think is really saying that dry tires are starting to become faster. Brendan Potts also had a crash here. Let's see what happened here. He was hanging out with Tanner Schiffner and Tommy Kogan. Wonder if he locked it up going into
going into the hairpin.
Going to the hairpin, trying to avoid Tanner Schiffner. I think he did so successfully.
But the question is for the folks that were on the dry tire. We are 17 minutes and 25 seconds into the feature race. We've got 8 laps under our belts. Here's going to be my question. Was it worth it? Because they're going to start gaining relative to the rest of the field. That's not a question. But, I mean, Christopher Blue has lost 9 spots.
Yeah.
Sean Sullivan has lost 13.
Remember,
the only person on the dry who's gained spots, period, full stop, is Austin Green with 2.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. And I think it goes back to the conversation we had at the beginning of this, where I didn't think it was dry enough, and there wasn't a dry line to really warrant the dry tire. So I think it's a interesting move as everybody who goes from wets to dries makes that pit stop. But remember, people were taking their first pit stops on the heat race at lap lap 6, lap 7. You know,
Yep.
they're going to have to
Well,
stop.
I think those folks were trying to get to the end on like a one-stopper.
Yeah.
I think, though, that it is within the realm of possibility that they have basically just lost time for 18 minutes while the rest of the field is going to, maybe suffer on the wets for the remainder of the stint, or alternate strategy, stop now, stop early,
Yeah.
get onto the dry tire. You might have to, your pit stop alignment might be a little bit like nerfed relative to the field, but your actual pace on track will still be comparable because you'll be on the tire to be on. I mean, Anthony Newman just set the fastest lap in GT4 with a 24.
Yeah. 24.05. So very rapid lap time.
Ethan Hamlet's last lap was, let's see here, I believe it was a 25.5.
Yeah.
Last lap. So, and Sean Sullivan is knocking on the door of busting into the 23s.
Yeah.
Well, Sean Sullivan is in the 23s. It just was an invalid 23. Anthony Newman had the 24.05. Actually, somebody I think might have gone purple in GT4. I didn't see who though.
Neither. Scott Fleming with that.
Scott Fleming just went purple.
206.
And that is 6 seconds faster
Than both Vincent and Nick Alvarado. This, I think Scott might have lucked out, but I think at what cost? Because he is, a good minute and 28 seconds to Gian, who is 20 seconds to Vincent in that battle for P1.
Yeah. It's definitely the moment that he looks like a genius now, but then you look at the interval between him and Gene Cardoso, and it's like, but really? Was it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Jaden switched those over to the dries.
Yeah.
I think Gab Chavez stayed on the wets. Interesting. I wonder if he had a drive.
That is a good question. Hopefully he... Well, actually, he was also taking repairs. He was in the pits for minute 55.
Interesting.
But yeah, looking through the field now, still waiting to see when folks are going to pit. To get off these wet tires. Christopher Blue is gaining on John Newman. It's not even a fight. The pace differential is like 5 seconds.
Yeah. A 220 out of Chris Blue, a 225 out of John Newman. It is.
Yeah, so I suspect coming in here into the braking, he's not even going to be able to hold the fight to the braking zone. So Christopher Blue's just going to clear him, and away he goes. Man, look at the like, I'm kind of curious if that's even like enough spray to even count this track as wet anymore.
I think if you get off that line, it'll probably still have some spray. I think that we're going to see a racing line form, and the heat there is making the track drier. But I think there's still some wetness if you're not on the racing line. 203 out of Scott Fleming, 0.9, a whole 9 seconds faster than our front runners. And I guess my question now is, why are they still on the wets?
Yeah, I think you got to, like, getting close to the. Oh,
Whoa.
Vincent's going sideways. He
keeps it out of the wall.
Saves it from the wall. Wow. I wonder if his wets are overheating.
I think they are. I mean, they'd have to be.
Yeah,
Colin
there's
Johnson,
no spray.
Eduardo Zamora,
There's absolutely no spray in sector one. Oh, now there's some. There's some right before they go into turn 5.
Yeah, I think it's like, especially if you get offline, you're gonna see some.
Zamora's in the pits.
Yes, Zamora, Johnson, Matt Pyle, Tommy Kogan, all in. I'm gonna assume they're all taking dry tires. I see the little markers switching over now, so I would have to imagine that.
So Christopher Blue is closing in on Matt Pyle right now, who's in the pits. He's going to leapfrog all of them.
Yep.
and go up into 18th overall, 4 spots off of where he started. He's now behind Brandon Potts. Can we talk about Brandon Potts for a minute? He's up 10 spots. Kyle Potter's up 13.
Man. Fantastic.
Like, Kyle Potter is driving the doors off of the 82.
Absolutely. And I think people are starting to make the swap over to dries.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to imagine that all the front runners of LMP3 are going to be making that stop in this lap.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to stop a little bit short on your stint. I think you're giving up way too much time on track relative to the folks that stayed on dries.
I think now, absolutely, I think you're giving away time if you don't. Or
if I'm Giancarlo, I'm stopping.
Yeah.
Because Scott Fleming has, in the span of us like joking about the fact that he was like a minute 28 behind, he's now a minute 7.
Yeah.
So
he's gained 20 seconds in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Not even.
Yeah.
So we are a fifth of the way through the Sebring 250 feature race. Big takeaways from the first fifth.
Definitely dramatic start for folks. Gian Cardoso almost went into the rear end of Ethan Hamlet going down pit road.
Mm-hmm.
The dry tire runners at the start, start on the wets. Do what are we on, lap 12? Do 10 laps, then risk it, or 8 laps and then risk it. I think being on the dry tires for that first 18-ish minutes, you're going to have prime running relative to the rest of the wet tire runners, but you're only going to have it for upwards of 12, maybe anywhere from 12 to 17 minutes. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think they should have been on the start on the wets. That had some pretty wild results. Man, the GT4 AM runners are now running so fast they flipped the GT4 Pro runners on the board.
Yeah, it's because all the GT4 Pro runners went in to take dries.
Just now, yeah.
Just now, and the Brandon Potts is now the highest. Or was for a brief moment. One of the
Garcia actually showed up with a 21.862
on wets. Wow.
Yeah, on wets, yeah. He's just gonna drive until the tread flies off.
I think so.
Christopher Blue is closing at a rate of knots on Brandon Potts right now.
Wow, yeah.
And I did not mean to rhyme at all. It just happened. I just fell into that one.
Nick Alvarado into the pits, the last of our front runners to take swap over to dries. We now have 6 cars on wet still, and I think they're going to be taking dries this time around. Because just watch Christopher Blue just pass Brandon Potts for first in GT4 AM.
Like he was in a different category.
Yeah. Now, I think Chris Blue has to be the one exception to the wet dry swap bit we've been saying. I think with how well he managed the rain in general and not spinning, he has come out of it on top. But I think he is the exception, not the rule. Yeah.
He definitely sacrificed raw pace to try and limp the M4 around, and. We'll see towards the end of the race whether or not the calculus works in his favor in terms of that first part of the first stint really working out for him. I'm still inclined to say it didn't, but he definitely came off better than just about anybody else on the wet tire.
Yeah. I think it's because he didn't have to stop initially, and I think we'll see him stop and fall back down the order as he is now the first place GT4 overall runner, so the GT4 AMs are now higher up on our timing tower as a result.
That's kind of funny, and the thing that I'm really interested in seeing here in a moment is as again we kind of get into the scenario where his pit stop comes in, those original dry tire runners. kind of like where he's going to shuffle relative to the field. Because I mean, he's only where is Corey? Because I think Corey, actually Eduardo Zamora. I mean, he's only 20 seconds ahead of Eduardo Zamora.
Yeah.
Ethan Hamlet jumps back to the top.
I don't know why. Because he's behind, 2 spots behind. Sean Sullivan.
Oh, no. It flipped the board, like, relative to GT4 Pro. He's in the top spot of GT4 Pro.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he set a faster time than Christopher. So now he's at the top of the GT4 board is now ahead of GT4 AM.
I don't know. I have no idea why it does that. I'm curious as to what the reasoning is. Because I don't think he set a faster time. Because Chris Blue's at a 2:15 and Ethan Hamilton only.
Oh, yeah. He's got a 3:05, yeah.
Yeah, 3:05 for most recent, 2:23 for best. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the determination
The SDK calculus is infallible and a mystery at the same time.
Yes, that's very true. Vince LaRue setting a 1:58 fastest lap of the session so far.
Yeah. He's carving now. He's cruising.
And he is hunting down Nick Alvarado, wanting his P1 back.
Although I think it's done. Like Nick Alvarado is showing his second place. I don't know if that's
disappeared off the. Yeah, I think it's a disconnect or a hiccup. Let's see, because he's not on the board anymore. I don't see him on track. So I think we'll see Ian Cardoso pass where he was here in a moment. Maybe.
Yeah, I think there might have been a disconnect.
Into the pits.
Yeah, see, here's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's Sean Sullivan right behind him.
Yeah. So if they only do what, 2 laps more on the dry tire? Yeah. I agree with you. I can't say it's worth it. Even in the best use case where you don't crash and don't do anything like that. I still think like you said, you're giving up time there.
Eduardo Zamora goes around. Bruno Clemente 20 seconds back.
Delwood Hunter passing Anthony Newman in GT4 Pro.
Here goes Clemente. Here comes Lobner. Yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah.
Now I think relative to the other folks that struggled on the wets, Christopher Blue is going to come out maybe a little bit better.
I think so.
We're going to see, because there's Brandon Potts right there.
Yeah.
We were talking about. He was just like walking past him. And it does look like he's going to come out in front of Brandon Potts. So there you go. There's your reference marker.
Yeah, but not by much.
No.
He's 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's still down 9 positions. Sean Sullivan's still down 10.
Yeah.
But if I don't know. It's definitely going to be, and we still have a lot of race left. I think we have. It's definitely yet to be seen where the fuel strategy plays into this, because we talked a lot about the tires. I think the other thing to keep in mind is that they've done 2 to 5 more laps on one fuel tank. It's lap 15 now, and I think they are going to set. If they do that, they do another 15. That's 30. They only have to 2-stop this. If people that stopped in on lap 10, who then stop in on say lap 25,
do they have to 3-stop?
Do they have to 3-stop it?
Yeah.
And that I think is going to be the next kind of big long-term game we see out of GT4, especially GT4 AM. I think that's going to be crucial for like Sean Sullivan, Christopher Blue, Brandon Potts to a lesser extent, to getting them back up the order from the time they lost in the doing the dry tire from the start.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the part where if there is any kind of like big brain strat for the for the dry tire runners at the start of the race, it's going to come down to the fuel stop. I'm just curious if relative to the rest of just their overall pace, again, would it have been worth it to sacrifice that time? But we'll find out. And we got Matt Pyle. I believe that was Austin Green in the pits. Now Matt Pyle going past. So
Austin
Green in the pits, I believe he was another one of the dry tire runners.
Yes. He was our last person to take the first pit stop.
Yeah.
From the dry tire running.
Austin actually pushing quite deep.
Yeah. Vincent LaRue setting pretty rapid lap times. And Scott Fleming is just trying to hunt him down, along with Gian Cardoso. Pretty quick times. He still has to make up, however, 26 seconds to Gian Cardoso. Or sorry, no. He has made up 26 seconds to Vincent LaRue. He is a second behind Gian Cardoso.
Yeah, Scott Fleming's catching Gian Cardoso pretty quickly.
Let's see here.
Gian Cardoso is going to have a fight on his hands here in a moment.
Let's see. Look at how bumpy that is for
Yeah.
there in the LMP3.
You are driving over a washboard into turn 1. It's pretty bad.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
There's a lot of reasons I don't like this track.
Sebring is like, it's like, in terms of like smoothness, it's like volcanic crust, cobblestone road, Sebring, like that in that order. Like it is. Like and like a normal road, it's like racing at like a normal road course, like a Bathurst is like 10 spots higher than Sebring, because the bumps here are just unreal.
Slowly dialing it in, closing that gap from what was about a 1.5 second now to 1.0.
Kerry Nolan setting his fastest to 2:13.194 in third, 9 seconds back from Colin Johnson. Colin Johnson having a good race. Yeah, they are pretty spread out right now, but both Kerry Nolan and Colin Johnson having good results. Devlin Hunter in the mix too. Matt Pyle having some good luck as well. Tommy Cogan still trying to claw back after that accident. He does get around Ryan Buchanan, gets up into 7th, and now his next target is set, and it is Henry Garcia.
He still has to keep Ryan Buchanan behind him, and that is a battle is not over yet.
Yep.
So, also in the mix, trying to get around all of them, is Vincent LaRue, the leader in GT or LMP3.
Vincent is just trying. It's like, guys, please give me a 1 car width, please.
Give me a lane. I don't care where, just a lane. John and Anthony Newman, the father-son duo, battling on track. Remembering those individuals correctly.
Yep.
Marvelous.
The offline McLaren currently, I think that's behind the BVR Porsche with that wonderful plaid stripe.
Still trying to find a way around. Be a very, very awkward.
Yep,
Sunday
he's not making
dinner.
it. He's not making it easy.
Nope.
Not making it easy. Definitely gonna be. There's definitely gonna be a lot to talk about the next time they go fishing. Eduardo Zamora with the fastest lap in GT4 with 2:12.
2:12.
Is that the fastest in GT4 or just AM?
GT4 AM for sure.
Gotcha.
Because that is a 2:12.93. 2:12.36 is going to be, I think, your fastest from Ethan Hamlet in GT4 Pro. Scott Fleming in the pit lane for his second stop after the damage he got early on. So I think this is his first scheduled stop. So I imagine he's also going to be doing a 2.5 stopper as well. And he's going to lose the time that he has gained trying to chase down Vincent LaRue and Gian Cardoso.
Yeah.
Jaden Ledbetter making his way back up to 4th, setting the fastest lap so far of the race with 156.9.
Yeah, he is. He's on a mission after that accident.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely caught him out. Lap 2. And then he had to run 6 laps on the wet tire before transitioning over to the dry.
Yeah, and Scott Fleming was stuck to the dry.
Yeah, for what was that? 2 laps?
No,
Yeah,
he
or
did.
no,
Well,
15,
he did
15.
two stints. He did the first stint of it, crashed into the
Yeah.
wall, brought it into the pit lane, took it back out for 15 laps, and now he is only a second and a half ahead of Jaden Ledbetter. So definitely the fuel stint saving game is going on for Scott Fleming, is my guess, based on that 15 laps of driving. Or that's the fuel stint for LMP3s. I think it's
fuel stint for LMP3, maybe, because it was about 11 laps for LaRue and Gian Cardoso.
But they also stopped to take on dries early. So I'm wondering if that the full fuel stint is going to be 15 laps. Or at least Scott's full fuel stint is going to be 15 laps.
Yeah. Jaden's catching him.
Yeah. Let's see how he's working inside the cockpit. I don't know. It is such a homely feeling listening to the inside of an LMP3 for me. As this is the car I cut my teeth on iRacing on.
Yeah, I love racing prototypes in general. Prototypes have always been a category that has fascinated me, even when I was a kid. Like when they actually started their inception. I'm trying to remember when that would have been. I mean, I would say probably like Group C.
Yeah,
stuff
Group
would
C
be like the
is
first thing.
For first kind of era prototypes, really like prototypes, and not just aerodynamic GTs.
Yeah, it was. I just like the closed in, like, I mean, it's the first time it actually feels like you're in a cockpit, like you would be in like a plane. I don't know, you just feel more one with the machine in that instance, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's not, you don't feel like you're sitting inside like a road car that's been turned into a race car.
No. You feel like you're in a race car.
Yeah, you feel like you're in a rocket ship.
Yes.
It's something else.
The gap is closing. Last lap time from the two of them, 156.16 out of Jason Ledbetter. A 234.17. This guy probably also came out of pit lane. Oh, excuse me. And just hounding him, finding those extra tenths. Oh, shaky there.
Back ends are stepping out.
So remember, if you get off the racing line, there's still a little bit of water there that can catch them off guard. Well, it's overall drying pretty quickly because of the sun. It's not fully dry.
So Jade not going for the dive. At the same time, going through Sunset in the LMP3 with the bumps and the fact that the car in front is basically taking away all of your aero. You could see it. Definitely looked like Jaden was fighting the car a little bit harder to get it through Sunset.
He's right on the tail end of Scott Fleming's LMP3 as they're trying to get through lap traffic. Brandon Potts giving them as much room as possible because he does not want to get involved with that. I wouldn't either.
Brandon Potts just checking out. Like, nope. I'm going to nope right out of this.
Yep, that's y'all. Y'all do that. I'll be over here.
Yep.
Another fight going on. Corey Lobner, Ryan Buchanan, not for in-class position, but for overall position.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about before, where because of the mix-up in between the pro and AM fields, We're going to see more of these fights between classes on track, probably than we've seen in previous races. And we've got one on display right here with Corey Lobner and Ryan Duquesne.
And not far up the road, like it's a little bit distance on our relative for class. Like you see the gaps in between all of them. But the actual interval there for both between Corey Lobner and Bruno Clemente is only a second to the car, you know, to the person that he's fighting against. As you know, Ryan Duquesne goes around Bruno Clemente to go further up the order, forcing Bruno Clemente wide, and he's having to tab on the brakes to get the car rotated a little bit more, going through a little bit less. Oh, that was. He always gets so close. Yeah, he always gets so close trying to get the max amount of time out of Sunset to that outside tire barrier. So he is. Corey Lobner is, I think, on the hunt. Also, another person on the hunt, Tanner Schiffner, trying to count down Kyle Potter. I think he's had a rather stellar return to form after the kind of initial T-bone from the shunt.
Yeah. And, you know, with Kyle Potter moving up through the order, just trying to recover as many spots as possible, trying to maximize his points here in the feature race. Which, by the way, we are at 44 minutes, almost 45 minutes into this feature race. We are on lap 21 of 52. It's gonna be interesting. We still got so much racing ahead.
Yeah. Vincent LaRue had the fastest lap. Where'd he go? Oh, that was his last lap. He said other than that. But best lap for Vincent, fastest lap of the race, 156.05.
Okay, so 55s are possible. Let's see it.
I think so. I think as he keeps going, pretty deep into the stint, so we'll see if that he's able to keep going from beyond that. Another 5 laps for him if we're believing Scott Fleming as our, max fuel time. Speaking of, he's trying to go around Tanner and Kyle Potter. Ryan Buchanan.
There's Jaden.
Yeah, there's Jaden, not far behind either of them. Bruno Clemente going back around Ryan Buchanan. Corey Lobner trying to follow through 3 wide as they get a better exit for. Oh my gosh! Contact!
And there's, man, I don't think Scott didn't realize that he wasn't clear.
I think he.
How did everybody survive?
Oh my gosh! Can I go back and replay that in slow mo? Because I almost want to see, it. Man, I didn't think Scott realized that he wasn't clear of Jaden, who got a better exit out of that, and he thought he was clear of Ryan Buchanan, who was on that side of him, and just bumped into him, who bumped into Ryan, and they all survived. Wow.
What a fight we have on our hands here.
Yeah, and Corey Lobner, Bruno Clemente trying to fight for P2, and not far behind them at this point is Kyle Potter and Tanner Schiffner, who are trying to get back spots from Ryan Buchanan.
And so interestingly enough, I think Tanner Schiffner, pile driving M4, as this field is behind Ryan Buchanan in pile driving AMG. So maybe a little bit of team shenanigans happening here, maybe?
It's possible. I wonder if
it's really hard to manage 3 more cars, but
Yeah, I'd say if the other 3 cars in between them would just do what they wanted, I think it would work out really well. I think, unfortunately, because they're not all pile driving machinery, I think the team orders will just get told, no, we don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the main thing is with Ryan Buchanan holding this field up, it is keeping Tanner Schiffner kind of in the mix,
Absolutely.
so to speak.
And yeah, between Tanner Schiffner and Kyle Potter all in the mix to get more spots up the order as they are 9th and 10th. Because they're only 2 seconds behind Tommy Kogan.
I think Kyle's going to take a shot into turn 1 here.
It looks like he's going for the inside line. Let's see if he sticks it. Bruno's run wide, but he has to lift to not hit him. He's through. Tanner Schiffner following or attempting to follow suit.
Oh. And they're going to
It's close.
Are they going to touch?
Nope. Not quite. Almost. But they all survive. Unfortunately, I think Bruno got the short end of that because he's now so far away from Corey Lobner, who, didn't have to worry about that.
I mean, there's still turns for them to catch Corey, too.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
So we're not on the last lap. Jaden Ledbetter taking, I think, his second pit stop of the evening. Hop over to.
Looks like Matt Pyle's catching Henry Garcia in the 236.
Yeah. Let's see here.
It is getting close.
And they're both following Devlin Hunter.
Yeah, Devlin Hunter currently in 4th in GT4 Pro.
And a second behind him is Tommy Kogan.
Yep, who's recovering quite nicely after that early incident. There's no fault of his own. Just getting dumped in the hairpin.
Let's see. Can it be? Let's ride along with Tommy. See how all this is looking from his perspective.
Who I think is in at least this round the lone Aston Martin on the field.
I believe so. Yeah. I don't think any other Aston Martin drivers are here tonight.
Yeah, we don't have Stephen Wallace.
Too wide going into sunset as Devlin Hunter and Henry Garcia swap positions. But Devlin comes out on top.
I'm trying to remember, are Devlin and Henry teammates? Like,
I don't recall. Let's take a look at their. No, it is not Devlin and Henry. It's Devlin and Ryan Vogel.
Yeah.
Those are the teammates.
Yeah. Now Pyle's in here. So with Henry Garcia, like they've all caught up to Devlin right now. So Devlin right now is the one that's holding up the field. Sean Sullivan about to maybe make a move around Logan Bronson. Actually, he did.
I think he did, yeah.
So Sean Sullivan up to 4th.
See if Logan is able to keep up with him. And Chris Blue, 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, Chris Blue catching up this field, still making moves. Sean is just so quick in the 66, man.
I think he really understands how that car drives well to maximize the time he gets out of it. I think he would be my other exception to the wet to dry stint theory that we had early on.
Yeah.
Only just if the initial incident where his self spin that got turned into a shunt by Matt Pyle, who got rear-ended by Kyle Potter,
and then got shunted by Matt Pyle again.
Yes, I think if that had been less aggressive, I think he would have been. He would come out of it. Ethan Hamlet and Colin Johnson, along with John Newman, all in the pit lane again. I think this is their first full stop after swapping over to dry tires.
Yeah. So at lap 25, we got almost 1 hour in the books. We're at 52 minutes, 30 seconds.
Oh, man, we got a whole other hour of this.
Yep. We have a whole other hour coming.
Fuck yeah. Ryan Buchanan, Kyle Potter, Tanner Schiffner, Bruno Clemente, all still at it. We lost Corey Lobner.
Kyle Potter is taking the line. That is one of the lines of all time.
Corey Lobner, it looks like he goes into pit lane. I think he got a little carried out of this. And Kyle Potter is, in theory, Ryan Buchanan's going to try to see if he has a better exit. I don't think he does.
Is that Ethan Hamlin in the background?
I think it is. Because he has left pit lane.
Because he has left pit lane.
Yeah. Gene Cardoso also in pit lane, along with a lot of our other Matt Powell, Tommy Kogan, Corey Loudon, Henry Garcia, Gab Chavez also in for pit stops.
LMP3s? Yeah.
Yeah, for LMP3s. And Chavez has had a pretty good recovery run.
Yeah. Tommy Kogan also has had a pretty good recovery run. Christopher Blue up into 4th in GT4 AM with some of the GT4 AM runners going into the pits.
Gene Cardoso getting out of pit lane by Scott Fleming. 1 second back, getting rapidly increasing. And Scott is on the hunt to chase down Vincent LaRue, but he has 1 minute and 21 seconds to catch up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough ask.
I think Vincent is on cruise control because they're just going.
It's going to be very similar to what we've seen with Ethan Hamlin. It's going to be about managing your pace, managing your race, not having any drama.
Nope.
And Vincent into the pit stop now. Looks like we've also got another AMG pulling in right now. I want to say
Devlin Hunter.
That's Devlin Hunter.
Yes. Yeah. William Lewis also as well in.
Whoa!
Shaky stop from Ryan Buchanan.
Was there some contact, or was that just like the rear got loose?
I think that was just the rear got loose. Let's see if we can.
These guys are racing to their pit boxes.
There was a little bit of rear end damage there. I almost think he got shunted.
Bruno missed his box.
Yeah.
Stop short. Christopher Blue nails it. Goes up on Jax. He's taking tires.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think if he double stinted his first set, it probably is time for a new set. Let's see. Kyle Potter up into the lead of GT4 Pro.
Yeah. Kyle Potter up in the lead. Currently 3 seconds ahead of Ethan Hamlin. And Kyle Potter actually is looking at stopping, if I were to guess, he last stopped on lap 11. So I suspect it's probably getting close for him.
I think so as well. I think either this lap or in at the end of this lap or the next lap. Crash out of Corey Lobner. Let's take a quick look, see what happened. Now, he got out of pit lane not too long ago. And just went.
Wall. Like he almost made it.
Almost survived and slipped through. And he gets it rolling. He's waiting to have a clear shot. So.
Corey Lobner, the dark horse of GT4 Pro in the points right now. That is not going to help his. That's not going to help his season campaign.
No. I think he's still driving it with that damaged.
Yeah. If his steering's not broken too bad, I think he might be able to limp it.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how long it's been. So Corey Lobner pitted when now?
22, like 4 laps ago?
Yeah, 4 laps ago. So now he's going to have to kind of like, suffer through it a little bit.
We also have to remember it is their lap 22, which might be lap 25.
Correct.
Kyle Potter, Sean Sullivan, both into pit lane, respectively.
Kyle Potter loses the race. Yep.
Is back out on the island. 9 seconds back is Colin Johnson.
Colin Johnson not letting Ethan Hamlin, beat the field by like an episode of Family Matters. So good for him. Good for him. Keeping Ethan Hamlin honest.
So I think it's even. I mean, it's just one rough pit stop for Ethan away of really being a fight for the finish.
Yep. And Colin Johnson is the only other GT4 runner to win a race this season.
Mm-hmm. Or for GT4 Pro.
Yeah, for GT4 Pro. Yep. The only other one. Yep.
Or overall GT4, I suppose.
Also true. Yeah. Yeah. But so Colin being 9 seconds, that gives me feelings like that for him the race is still possible.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. He pitted on the same lap that Ethan Hamlin did. So I'm curious to see if he's able to make the fuel game work. Oh no. Gab Chavez cashed. Let's see what happened there. Goes on the outside of Thomas D'Arcangelo. Does he just drive it too deep? Oh, and then he loses the rear end. And then, beautiful avoidance.
Whoa. Yeah.
From Dom's D'Arcangelo.
Yeah.
He is.
And I'm curious if I don't think he crossed the pit line, so I don't think he's going to get the unsafe release.
No. Wow. Good heads up from Thomas D'Arcangelo there.
Yeah.
To not.
We've got Garcia currently half-second back from Austin Green in GT4 Pro as you got, again, down the back straightaway.
Cars.
Yeah, just cars.
Just cars everywhere. Yeah. Scott Fleming, 45 seconds behind Vincent LaRue. That gap is growing between Scott Fleming and Vincent LaRue.
Devlin Hunter and Tommy Cogan are duking it out.
Let's take a look at that.
They are duking it out. And out of the exit of Sunset,
Tommy's running
right up to the line. Yep, Tommy's got the inside line, though, as they get ready to go in turn one.
Devlin files behind for that draft. And he's got to swap to try to take the inside. Tucks it behind. Just showing the nose. We'll see how... There you go. Anthony Newman into the pits for his second stop. See how that fares.
So Garcia's 4/10, Devlin's 5/10. Although he's keeping pace with Tommy Cogan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not letting Tommy run off.
No. I don't think that battle is over by a long shot. I don't think, unless lap traffic is getting involved in the Henry Garcia Austin Green fight, I think they are also far from over.
Hey, Milo. How are you doing? Milo the first in chat, everybody.
Milo.
How are you doing? How are you doing, Mr. Paul Miles? Hope you're doing well. We're out here doing multi-class racing at Sebring International Raceway. You're watching the Track Limits 250. I feel like we're in NASCAR.
No, the Sebring 250. Or the track.
Yep.
One of those two.
Yeah, but we're doing the Sebring 250 here. We had a 15-lap heat race to set the grid for a 52-lap feature. And we've got some good battles out here on track in GT4 AM and GT4 Pro. LMP3 is kind of... I think it's going to come down, to a little bit of luck and pit stops.
I think so. I think it's fuel strategy at this point for Scott Fleming and Gian Cardozo to really bring the fight back to Vincent LaRue, because if he is setting about a second to a second and a half faster lap times, Vincent LaRue is to Scott Fleming and Gian Cardozo. So,
yep. And so the GT4 Pro category right now, we've got this battle between Tommy Cogan and Devlin Hunter, although Devlin Hunter seems like he has gotten the best of Tommy and is... he's not really pulling away so much.
Well, I think...
And then... Go ahead.
I was saying, if you give it a couple corners, I think Tommy will be back trying to pass him, because that's what seemed to happen last time around. We came through turn one.
It definitely seems like there is some sector differences between the performance of the AMG on track relative to the Aston. Mm-hmm. So start of the race, we had wet conditions. The feature during the heat race, it was basically spotty rain the whole time. track moderately wet. We go into the start of the feature race, 52 laps. We have effectively 12 laps of moderately wet track, transitioning to lightly wet track. And then we hit that inflection point where people need to switch over to the dry tires. We had some dry tire runners start. They're not doing awful. Sean Sullivan's in third in GT4 AM right now. But yeah, it was quite an interesting start to the race with folks on different tire strategies, seeing what the race was like when we hit that inflection point. So yeah, there's been some exciting moments.
Absolutely. Chris Blue, I think, trying to take the fight to Corey Lobner.
Yep.
And Sean Sullivan, not far ahead, a few seconds. Sean Sullivan also chasing down Bruno Clemente.
So Sean Sullivan has kind of like had some pretty blistering pace here at Sebring. He was one of the dry tire runners at the start, was pretty far down the field, did not manage to maintain the pace and hold the positions that Christopher Blue had. But since we've switched to the dry tires, really has taken the 66 out on some really quick laps, and has found himself on a podium spot.
Yeah, I think he wants to move up the podium by the looks of it. So I definitely think it's... I think if he doesn't keeps his lines very nice and neat, trying to pass Bruno Clemente, and keeps the fuel game running well, I think he'll have a very good shot at P2.
I think the thing that we also need to remember is that while Sean Sullivan and Christopher Blue are doing quite well, they are also off strategy relative to the rest of the field that stopped early to transition to the dry tires.
Yeah.
So the main strategy runners are looking at more than a two-stopper, whereas both Sean Sullivan, Corey Lobner, at least know, and there is a bit of a spin, and it looked like Vincent LaRue almost was going to get caught up in that.
I think he was. I think he was trying to keep his car out of the rear end of Sean Sullivan, who had slowed down to not get caught up with the spin that Bruno Clemente went on.
Yeah, I think Sean Sullivan got into his back end out of turn 4, and
yep, just a little bit. You can hear the little clunk.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Car looks no worse for wear. Devlin Hunter, Tommy Kogan, still duking.
Yeah, these two. Yeah, still throwing blows.
I don't think this one won't be decided until we reach the checkered flag, is going to be my guess. 'Cause I'm sure neither of them are doing a whole ton of cruising.
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
Just a thought, but I don't think they are.
So you're putting them firmly in 2.5 stops.
I'm thinking so.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that'll be the play. Ooh, too wide going into sunset. Tommy finds his way around. Devlin showing the nose before coming back in to take the optimal line through. I say optimal, I think, with the biggest quotation marks I can muster for first turn.
Yeah. Yeah, the TSR AMG is not letting the 55 Good Smile Aston Martin go, as Devlin just hanging on to the back of Tommy Kogan.
Yeah.
This is the battle for 6th in
Yes.
GT4 Pro?
Yes. Speaking of people not letting other drivers, I suppose, go. Corey Lobner, Chris Blue. Corey Lobner is just right on the tail, trying to keep the pace going.
And Corey Lobner was ahead of Chris Blue earlier on, but had that spin on the exit, the slow spin on the exit of sunset. Found himself in the wall. The temps. What you telling me about them temps?
It's pretty hot, I think. Let's take a look at the weather.
I mean, it's 30 C on track, but the difference is there's how would they say it in the Bronx? There's no water.
There is no water.
So yeah, I think tire temps probably will be a factor.
Scott Fleming into the pits. 25 seconds. All right, we are past the halfway mark. What are your thoughts so far?
Wow, we're past the halfway mark. Finally. This is a pretty wild race, man. I really think the survival and strategy aspect of this hasn't quite like we're kind of seeing the rising action part of the race relative to the strategy, and we haven't quite gotten to understand how the story will end for some of the drivers. Christopher Blue letting Bruno Clemente go around, and Corey Lobner is right there. And Corey Lobner is not shy about driving the wheels off that car.
Absolutely not. I think Bruno Clemente is trying to hold on to P3 there. Isn't able to do so. He's busy trying to find that momentum again to keep up with this pack of cars he finds himself with.
Yeah. And this is the battle for P3 in GT4. Oh, Jaden said it's 52C on track.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're not really driving around on tires as much as they are driving around on what used to be called tires.
Molten rubber that was once in a loose shape of a tire that is still attached to the wheels.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what's the...
So when anybody asks what the temperature is like right here in Sebring International Raceway, the temperature is surface of sun.
Surface of sun and wet, because it's Florida.
Yeah.
For those of you who speak freedom units, that is 125.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'll take my steak medium.
I'm sure we could absolutely pull out a nice little skillet, just slap it down on the track, and get ourselves some decent barbie going.
It's hot out there, but you can see there's actually still parts of the track that are displaying some spray, which is kind of odd. Unless that's the debris just spraying up dirt.
Yeah, I think it is just spraying up dirt off of the little bit of grass they usually try to run on in the dry. Scott Fleming has a crash that I can see here. I wonder if it is. Yep.
Oh, no.
And sunset.
Into sunset.
What happens? Takes it wide, gets loose, and the back just gives out.
And there goes. Yep. And
ooh,
and
that engine is not happy.
We've got a Jaden Ledbetter Dynamics. Whoa, look at the car.
That car is crabbing to the pit lane.
Oh, my goodness, man.
Oh. All right.
That car has seen things. That car has seen things. We got a Jaden Ledbetter Dynamic engine cover, of course, because it went straight to the moon.
But Scott Fleming is back going again. I think picking sunset to be the place you crash is always a decent one. But it does shove him 45 seconds behind Jaden Ledbetter in an unscheduled pit stop. I think it'll be hard for him at this point to get back onto the podium.
Boy, howdy. The fast repair, the engineers got that car back together so quick.
I think he just did the MotoGP special where he just jumped into a new car.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think it was like they repaired it. I think they just were like, here's our spare in the garage. Let's pull it out and run it.
First season of Formula E. They basically they like pull into the pits, get out, run to the other car, get in.
Yep. I think that's what happened in the pit lane for Scott Fleming was they saw that happen and they're like, all right, let's get the other one ready. Pulled it out of the tent garages they have behind the pit lane there in that pit wall, and he did the Formula E special. Colin Johnson in for his, I think, third scheduled stop. Might be his final. I'm not sure. I think you have to run it pretty long for it to be his final, but it's possible.
Relative to what lap we're on right now, I think he can make it.
Okay.
I think he can make it. He's looking at, I believe that'll be 16 laps. Not sure what the bonus lap will be like.
Yeah. The fight between Devlin Hunter, Tommy Kogan rages on. Tanner Schiffner, Kyle Potter also getting back into the heat of things. Vincent LaRue, leader of LMP3 by almost a minute at this point, has broken into the 155s with a 155.91. So it is possible.
It has happened. Yeah. That's wild, man. 55s, dude. That's nuts. That is some crazy pace from Vincent. Finishing in this order, if it ends up being this way, Gian Cardoso coming away with, again, rock solid points.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about this at the front end of the broadcast. Like, Scott Fleming is in the lead of LMP3 to the tune of 22 points.
Yeah, and he's finishing fourth right now.
He is fourth right now, which is going to be a respectable points haul. It's not going to wipe out his lead. But at the same time, too, Gian Cardoso, if he can hang on to the second place finish, he is going to potentially close that gap down. And Vincent LaRue actually going to probably jump up on that board if he can finish in this order, because we've got folks like Peter Hutchings, Nick Alvarado, Bartosz Pisecki, Wesley Griffith, potentially looking like he could potentially leapfrog a number of people.
I think so. I think it puts him probably somewhere in the top 6 or 7. I'd have to think.
I would say he's probably looking at somewhere along the lines of, he might not leapfrog. He might get up to Wesley. Wesley, I think, might be 1 or 2 points unobtainium, because Wesley's going to come away with some points.
Yeah.
And Vincent's going to get 40 if he finishes in first.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're looking at here. It'll be interesting. We'll see. But yeah, Vincent doing a really good race right now. Ethan doing a really good race. Ethan's almost 30 seconds ahead of Kerry Nolan. Kerry Nolan, can we talk about Kerry for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
That, like, the 45 AMG, Kerry is putting on a show right now, and is going to come away with some really good points here if he can finish in second place. Like, that is going to be far and away one of his strongest finishes in track limits, because, I mean, he only had 26 points at Road Atlanta, and coming away with, what would it be? I believe it would be 37 points with the second place finish in class.
Yes.
Like, that'd be pretty good. That'd be a pretty good result for Kerry. So he's doing really good right now. I'm really stoked about this fight between Devlin Hunter and Tommy Kogan. I did not know we were going to get this one, but here we are.
And then it's like a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, because Devlin's now half second back from Tommy. Tommy sometimes is a half second back from Devlin. These two are elbows out pretty much the whole time. I think the only way we're going to see these two kind of get split up is relative to how the pit stops are handled.
Absolutely. And I think not far behind them, you can see them in the review of this shot, Kyle Potter, Tanner Schiffner also duking it out.
Yep.
Kyle Potter's trying to come back up. Tanner Schiffner's not letting him get away unscathed.
So relative to the end of this race. We need to take a think about Tommy Kogan was the earliest of the crew to stop on lap 22. So he's got what lap is he on right now? He is on lap 33. So he's got 11 laps on these tires and in his stint right now. So I suspect that we might be seeing the pit stop battle kick off here in a moment.
I think so. Tommy not giving away fifth position to Devlin at all. But I definitely think that he'll be the first of the people to pull the trigger and come into pit for the final time for them. Jaden Ledbetter in the pit as well. Speaking of pit
Gotta wonder if
stops,
this is going to get him. This is going to get him to the end.
I want to say it does. We are on lap 40, or will be on lap 40 of
52.
Yeah, 52. Sorry, brain decided to have just not be able.
There's
to
a
words.
there's a lot of things to follow. That is one thing in particular that these multi-class races, for the folks that don't know, watching these multi-class races, having to deal with the classes interleaved relative to lap traffic, but then also having the categories that are inside an individual class. So like the pro category or the AM category, like it makes for a lot of information to follow along with. And then you spread it out over, I mean, we're looking at what? We're going to be here at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Probably longer than that. Maybe like 2 hours, 10 minutes, somewhere in there.
Yeah, maybe.
It becomes a lot of information to kind of hold in your head. It looks like with Ethan going into the pits, he's going to cycle out this fight
between Devlin and Tommy, and I think that might be the thing that breaks it up, at least for the moment.
It does. Here's the thing, though. So all that conservative driving that Ethan's been able to do, he kind of has to probably switch that part of his brain off now and find a way around Tommy so that he doesn't end up in a situation where this battle holds him up too much.
Yeah.
Because again, Kerry's was only 9 seconds back before pit stop.
Yeah. And he's now only, I think, 13, and Colin Johnson is still only 10.
Correct.
And he pulled the trigger first of the kind of top 3 in GT4 Pro.
Yep. And I wonder if Ethan pitting when he did was might be a little bit early relative to his pit number because he might just be covering people off. He might be good to fuel to the end, so just go ahead and get the stop done, and then drive the car to the checkers. And but we'll see how it plays out. Right now, Tommy not letting Ethan go.
Yeah, not letting Ethan go and putting up a fight there. But Devlin's, hanging out with them as well. Neither are getting by Tommy. I see, Ethan's getting closer to him, but this back straight might be the place for Ethan to make the move with the draft if he's able to. Gian Cardoso into the pits. Scott Fleming up to third after the pit cycle. And Jane Ledbetter. Gab Chavez, Eduardo Zamora, Henry Garcia also all in for pit stops. As Tommy Kogan pulls the trigger. And dives in as well.
Tommy's going to pull the trigger. Devlin's going to be out a little bit longer because he pitted on lap 22. So yeah, Kyle Potter will move up to third, along with Tanner Schiffer.
Yep, Kyle Potter into third, Tanner Schiffer into fourth before the pit cycle. Remember, they'll still have to do one as well. But it looks like that fight still remains heated, even with Gian Cardoso hanging out in between them.
Colin Johnson pitted on lap 31,
Mm-hmm.
4 laps ago, and he is ahead of Tommy Cogan, Henry Garcia, and so on. It's so definitely big undercut.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of curious if that might have been a little too early, but we'll see.
I don't think so. I mean, we talked about it when it happened. I think it'll be okay. And I agree with your statement on it. Based on the number of laps they're going to have to do, I think they'll be all right. And the only person who hasn't come in for their probably third and final stop in the LMP3 category is probably going to be Vincent LaRue, as he's almost lapped the entire field.
Yeah. He's about to lap Gian Cardoso, but he still has to pit. Kind of curious when Vincent's going to pull the trigger. Vincent just doing a really good job of unlocking some pace and managing his fuel.
Mm-hmm. Managing fuel, managing traffic, not getting held up by GT4s. Is this the lap where he pulls the trigger? I think it is.
Yeah.
For his third
he's
and
in.
final. Devlin Hunter also in. Tanner Schiffner also in. Kyle Potter stays out. Takes over second. Colin Johnson will go back up to third. He was second prior to the final pit stops.
Yeah. So with Sean Sullivan coming in, I wonder where he's going to cycle out relative to Christopher Blue. Because those were, again, the dry tire runners very beginning. Christopher Blue's already done his pit stop. I think his final pit stop for the race.
Yeah. Go back on lap 35 for 34 for them.
Yep.
So Tanner Schiffner is away.
Anthony Newman might finish higher than the other dry tire runners, although actually he pitted like way later relative to the field for his second stop.
I think he'll
so
still
he
have
might
one
be. Yeah, he'll still have one more. Yeah.
1, 2.5, 1. Sean Sullivan out of pit lane.
Is he going to get around? Is he going to stay around Brandon Potts? No, Brandon Potts is going to get ahead of him.
After Brandon Potts, but well ahead of Christopher Blue and Ryan McCain. So, a rather good set of stops there for Sean Sullivan.
But Sean Sullivan's going to want to try and keep Ryan Buchanan behind him because that's a nice buffer between him and Christopher Blue because they're racing in the same class.
Yes. Sean Sullivan and Christopher Blue are. But that is also 20 seconds total between Sean Sullivan and Christopher Blue. 7 seconds between Sean and Ryan, and another 13 between Ryan and Chris. So I think it is definitely a game of managing pace.
Looking at the laps now, Vincent LaRue about to come around sunset, and I think when he crosses the line, we're going to have 10 laps left in this race.
Yes.
So Vincent LaRue finishing out. Well, maybe I got it wrong because it said he's 41 and change in SDK, but across the line, we're starting the 43rd lap.
Yes. So he's finished the 42nd. He's now on the 43rd, just under 10 laps to go. Kyle Potter into the pit lane. Did you want more Devlin Hunter versus Tommy Cogan the race? Because you got one.
I mean that's going to be it. That's going to be it. Yeah. I think they're big fans of keeping the action piled on for the folks at home.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely the race to follow along with.
And
I want to cycle out ahead of Kyle Potter.
Yeah, I see where Kyle Potter.
I want to see Kyle Potter catch back up to him. He does come out ahead of Tanner Schiffner, it looks like. Or no, that's Matt Pyle.
That's Matt Pyle. So he is also ahead of Tanner Schiffner. Yep.
Yeah.
By a few seconds. So that, I think, like you said, that the pit cycle has definitely caused that battle to spread out. But didn't cause the one for Tommy Code and Devlin Hunter to close up at all. Henry Garcia and Eduardo Zamora, not for class position, but overall position, are also in the thick of it. Those are on-track battles, I think, for the moment. Matt Pyle desperately trying to get around Kyle Potter. Too wide as they make their way through. And has to cede the position as he's on the outside line. But they definitely smell blood in the water. Right along with Tanner Schiffner.
Who goes launches the right side of his car up in the air on the curb. Practically does a kickflip, and now he's got Matt Pyle and Kyle Potter in his sights as they get ready to go into the final sector, about ready to enter sunset, or not sunset, but the back straight.
Mm-hmm.
Good exit.
Yep.
Let's see if we can ride along and he can catch up to the back end of Matt Pyle.
Very cool. See, Matt Pyle takes a dive onto Kyle Potter. 3/10 between the two of them. I think he's going to filter in behind. Takes a very conservative entry for Matt Pyle there. Anthony Newman, Logan Branson, and John Newman all in the pit lane.
Yeah, so Anthony Newman was one of the dry tire runners coming in for his final stop. Looks like he's going to cycle out behind Schiffner. He might cycle out behind Duquesne.
Yeah, just behind Duquesne and in front of Christopher Blue is where Anthony cycles out in. This battle is toasty for P7. Yep. Too wide through a lot of these corners. Kyle Potter being very defensive, taking those nice shallow lines to keep Matt Pyle on the outside and having to work harder to get around him. Tanner Schiffner's just got a front row view.
He's got a front row view, and he's got the best paying position if these two decide to clobber one another.
Mm-hmm. As long as he isn't too close to get clobbered himself.
Yeah.
That was always a trade-off.
So definitely got to stay frosty here in the closing stages of the track limits 250 at Sebring. We are 45 laps in the books. We have been here for an hour and a half doing multi-class racing around Sebring. And it's been long enough now that I almost forgot that the race started wet.
Yeah. I definitely don't feel like the heat race that we just saw about an hour and a half ago was the same set of racing.
It feels like and last week when we were at Sebring.
Part of the double feature of 2 weekends of Sebring.
Yep.
We had a nice quick rain race, and now this week we have the hour and a half long feature, not, a nice 20-minute opener or 30-minute opener, excuse me.
Yeah.
They're still
Oh man, look at Kyle being defensive.
Yep.
Comes back over late, but that's okay. He did one move. Going into turn one. Both Tanner pushing it out wide a little bit onto the dirt. Man, they are really in it. Same deal with Devlin and Tommy.
Yeah. That one has not calmed down either.
Let's move the camera a whole 10 feet ahead.
Two positions.
Yep.
The battle for P5 instead of the battle for P7. Too wide.
into the hairpin.
Devlin holds on to it, going out. Tommy's
Taking that
hot on his
inside
heel.
line. Taking that inside line was the answer into the hairpin.
Yeah. I mean, it's the defensive line. We've seen Kyle do it at least once or twice in the past couple laps for a lot of these slower corners to really, hold off and prevent Matt Pyle from getting around Kyle. So I can imagine Devlin's on a similar tactic. Tommy's nipping at the heels of Devlin Hunter, though.
Yeah, it is really heating up here in the closing stages. We've got really, to be honest, it's tight battles in GT4 Pro that are kind of setting the stage for what's going on here. Devlin Hunter not leaving anything to chance with Tommy Kogan behind him.
Great exit out of from Tommy Kogan, though, going onto his back straight, and he has the draft. I think you might see a late move here from Tommy if he has the run. Now he's going to play safe.
He backs out.
Yeah. I
Interesting.
mean,
I think he's. Do you think he's staying behind Devlin long enough to be able to hold his phone up and join the Discord? Is definitely getting really close and familiar with the butt of the 808.
I think he's just going for the
bump
draft. That is a bump draft.
Maybe that is a bump draft. It's like, okay, bud.
Pushes him wide.
Oh man,
that goes for the.
This guy's
over under.
calculated. This guy's calculated. I'm wondering if that one's gonna get a favorable view from the stewards. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see. Battle is not over yet, though, as always.
Yeah, and Devlin's behind. He's like, you know what? I can touch a car butt too.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
but that was a little bit more than I think Tommy.
That was a little bit more. That was a little bit more than a touch.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more than touch. The front end of the Mercedes does have a little bit of a frown showing.
Yeah, it's starting to look a little upset.
Looks a little grumpy cat. That's okay. That's okay.
In the distance, Kyle Potter, Matt Pyle, Tanner Schiffner are all closing in on these two because they are right behind.
Yep.
Oh, and this one, I think this battle is still going on. Tanner Schiffner, again, just enjoying the front row view as Matt Pyle is hounding Kyle Potter trying to get around. Gian Cardoso rejoining. I think he had a bit of a spin there trying to get past, or just after getting past the duo of Devlin and Tommy Kogan.
Thing is that Gian getting involved there is going to pull Tanner Schiffner out of the mix just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but I think Tanner's also playing it a little safe. I think he's able to rejoin that fight pretty easily if he wants to.
Yeah.
Kerry Nolan back in the pit lane.
Oh, Kerry Nolan back in the pit lane. That is unfortunate.
Allowing
that was looking like a really good result for him.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was just pit strategy. I wonder if it was just down to pit strategy. Do you see anything in the data about a crash or anything like that?
No, I see nothing in the data, at least recently.
Yeah. So maybe it was just never meant to happen. Maybe it's just based on pits.
Yeah. But he's up on the jacks. I don't know why. I mean, I guess, maybe the tires are shot. That could be the other thing. Matt Pyle, we're riding along with finally getting around. Kyle going for the over-under.
Kyle's like, I'm going to use all the track. I paid for it.
Tanner Schiffner just hanging out behind them both.
Yep, Tanner's going to take the fight now to Kyle Potter now.
I wonder if Devlin's got some top-end damage as a result of that shunt. I think it's the biggest we've seen the gap between those two in a while.
These three are just nose to tail.
Goes for the sticks the nose out. Tanner Schiffner almost getting into the back of Kyle Potter as they keep going through. Heading up the tower corner. Man,
Yeah, this one's pretty good. And
Yeah.
this is the race. This is the race for 6th.
Yes.
These guys are racing for 6th like there's a championship on the line.
Yeah, there's a championship on the line, and they're getting paid to be there.
Yep. That's right. Right.
So, Gab Chavez trying to make his way around this fight.
Tanner taking the very conservative approach he normally takes.
And not far in the background, Vincent LaRue on his 48th lap, working on his 49th.
Oh, Kyle Potter is going to be able to take advantage of Matt Pyle, who goes pretty deep on corner entry at Sunset.
But he drives it out and doesn't give him any room. And they are still nose to tail.
Oh,
Vincent LaRue's weaving through them to try to get around all of them.
Just having to thread through these GT4s. I mean, everybody is just elbows out right now. You love it. You'd love to see it, right?
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. Matt Pyle finally getting a little bit of breathing room. Kyle Potter still under threat from Tanner Schiffner.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like
Maybe he got the better
wide.
exit.
I think so.
Tanner got out of the draft quickly.
Yeah. He has a good exit here. Kyle Potter, however, has the inside line. Too wide through the hairpin. And they file back out.
Yep. Inside line OP.
Yeah. Something a little different that we haven't seen in a little while. Chris Blue, Kerry Nolan in the background, Corey Laubner. Also all battling for overall GT4 positions.
Yep. Christopher Blue currently in 3rd in GT4 AM, which is fantastic for him in terms of a points haul. And he's only down 5 spots in the overall.
From where he started, yeah.
Yeah, from where he started. So, I mean, if he got another 2 spots, he'd be 3 spots down from the overall. So he was already mixed in with the GT4 Pro.
And Corey Laubner, I think, trying to make up that time there.
Yep.
Something I haven't seen a little bit. Henry Garcia.
Yeah, Henry Garcia currently in 3rd, 24 seconds back from Colin Johnson. 9, almost 10 seconds ahead of Tommy Kogan. Henry Garcia looking at a podium finish here in Sebring if he can hang on to it.
I think it would be. I think it would be a great finish for him because I think we've seen him have a really rough season so far.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely been caught in some incidents on track, but a 3rd place finish for the 236 would be a very welcome sight for Henry Garcia.
I think it would be. Eduardo Zamora, I think, would be a good win for him. Really help his points haul.
Yep. Yep.
I think he was.
Yep.
He was absent last week, right?
I think so, but a 1st place finish here is going to be a heck of a points haul for him. Just looking at the championship breakdown while we're going back to that battle with, it looks like Tanner Schiffner found his way around Kyle Potter.
Yeah. Though I don't think it's over
yet.
Matt Pyle has found his way into the fight with Devlin Hunter and Tommy Kogan.
Yeah. So if Eduardo Zamora comes away with a race win here in GT4 AM, I mean, he's only 7 points behind Corey Laubner.
Wow, yeah. That really puts him into contention there.
Yep.
And if that, puts him into what else?
I mean, he's going to finish potentially ahead of Sean Sullivan. He's already 32 seconds ahead of Sean Sullivan. That's another good points haul relative to his competitor Sean Sullivan, who's 2nd in GT4 AM.
Oh, and a late stop from Colin Johnson.
That
is incidents, or is this for fuel?
Let's find out. I don't see him coming to the box. Nope, there he goes.
There he goes. He dives in late as he was a pretty good qualification onto the heat feature, and he is just stopping for a splash. Yep, and he's off moving again, but I think that
is an
may
unfortunate
cost
math
him
calculation.
P3 or cost him P2 back to P3 and maybe into the fight with Tommy Cogan, Devlin Hunter, and Matt Pyle. Not quite 7 seconds behind, but they are a drop in the podium spots.
So with Henry Garcia getting these points, Henry Garcia is in third right now in GT4 Pro with 132 points. He is finishing 2 spots ahead of second place in points, Tommy Cogan with 152 points. So we're definitely looking at what could be a shift. If anything, Henry Garcia is looking to potentially extend on both Devlin Hunter, Matt Pyle, Tanner Schiffner, and Kyle Potter. So Henry Garcia is going to come out of this one quite well if he can take the checkers in second.
I think he can. I mean, Vincent LaRue is, I think, on the back stretch, and it'll be white flag for him next time by. So let's see where he's at real quick. Just past Gabe Chavez. I believe that is white flag.
Lap.
You can see that in the air. Just kind of hanging out behind the Mobile 1 sign.
Yep, that guy is a legend. I could not wave a flag that fast for that long.
So the final lap for a lot of our folks here as we get through the last few corners. Commanding drive from Vincent LaRue in LMP3.
Yep, Vincent taking advantage of some really rough conditions for Scott Fleming. Didn't seem like he could really figure out the car here. So kind of curious to see what Scott can do in Chicago. Actually, we're getting ready to finish this race off while we're watching Vincent finish his lap out. We should get people up to speed with kind of like what's on tap.
Absolutely.
For track limits in the coming weeks. We do have Chicago Street Circuit. That's going to be coming up, and the date on that one is going to be April 12th. 90 minutes around the streets of Chicago. And then we go to round 7 at Spa. That's going to be April 19th. And Mid-Ohio for the series finale, 2 hours, April 26th. We're going to home turf for Mr. Finicini.
We are. And I could not be more excited. Yeah, I'm so stoked. I love Mid-Ohio. I spend way too many weekends there over the course of my life, and I'm always happy to go back. So
I think it's going to be good stuff. The other thing I wanted to highlight here is, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have not had... We have had one... I think... No, we ended up having more retirements than
3, I think, is our total number.
Yeah.
And then, 3 is our total number of retirements.
Vincent LaRue taking that win. Your boy.
My teammate.
Where's Mr. Hamlet at?
Mr. Hamlet?
Mr. Hamlet.
Just doing donuts.
46 seconds ahead. Yeah, just doing donuts while everybody else is finishing this race out.
Henry Garcia.
Yep. And Eduardo Zamora is just now coming down the back straightaway.
Yes,
man, this is a heck of a race. Jaden Ledbetter manages to come across the line in third after having a really unsettling start to the race on lap 2.
Tommy Cogan.
So good points for him.
Trying to keep Matt Pyle behind him. Devlin Hunter, I think, got unlucky in this battle for 4th. And the donuts that even Hamlet is doing is...
Oh, wow. It is completely obscuring
the camera.
Start finish straight away. That is hilarious.
Tommy Cogan comes home in 4th. Matt Pyle 5th. Devlin Hunter 6th. Tanner Schiffner in 7th, I believe.
Devlin Hunter just deleted himself, I'm pretty sure. So it is wild, man. Eduardo Zamora taking the win in GT4 AM. It looks like Sean Sullivan's going to come across in second, with Christopher Blue rounding out the podium in third.
Mm-hmm. And Kerry Nolan. So we'll wait till everybody else gets finished driving. We have the last bit of GT4 AM and other drivers. Gian Cardoso, the only other driver to finish on the lead lap to Vincent LaRue. 1 minute and 46 seconds behind P2 Gian Cardoso. Man.
That was a wild race. Like,
yeah.
there's we don't have enough time left in the day to talk about what we just witnessed.
I don't think we do.
Like, it was full of so many different moments. Between the heat and the feature race, you could not describe this track, this format, more differently between two races.
Not at all.
Like, it just, between the rain in the heat race and then that start with the wet conditions transitioning to the dry, I mean, I think it really came off, and I think it really provided us some really exciting racing to watch.
Absolutely. I think there was never a dull moment. And sure, it was, we spent a lot of time, I think, in the latter parts watching Devlin and Tommy really duke it out. And I want to see and check back to see if something happened to them. I don't think it was the case, but I think he just got unlucky with Devlin, ending up behind Matt Pyle.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were never wanting for close battles or action. A lot of it was from GT4. I think we were looking a little bit more to the fuel strategy and ways that we could see the LMP3s take home their respective positions and gain time. I think had a couple better races happened, Vincent LaRue would have been fighting more with Jaden Ledbetter and Scott Fleming for that top position.
It was some wild stuff.
So quickly,
for sure,
we'll run over the order of who came in where everybody came in the feature race. I'm running out of brain cells to properly talk. I apologize. Total taking home P1, the victory. Vincent LaRue, my good friend in the endurance team. But also amazingly fantastic and incredibly consistent race car driver, as that was shown today, I think, more than anything else. Gian Cardoso comes home P2, our only other car on the lead lap. Jaden Ledbetter in P3, a decent race for him. You know, it wasn't a complete loss.
It was a crazy race at the LMP3 level. Kind of hoping we're going to see some more folks in Chicago, but I do think that the 7 that we had show up for LMP3 did manage to put on a pretty good show, and your boy Vincent, rocket ship.
Yep.
Can't wait for him to. I can't wait for Scott to get his feet back under him for Chicago. Let's see if we can see Vincent. Let's see the two of them go toe to toe.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
So, in GT4 Pro, trying to mash all these words together. Ethan Hamlet taking home the victory. Henry Garcia P2. Colin Johnson rounding out that podium with that last minute dip into pits to make sure he had enough fuel to cross the checkered flag. Unfortunately, I think depriving him of the P2 that he would have had otherwise. Tommy Kogan, Matt Pyle, Devlin Hunter, Tanner Schiffner, Kyle Potter, Ryan Buchanan, and Anthony Newman round out your top 10. I think we have a couple more. Kerry Nolan, Austin Green, and Ryan Vogel. Austin Green, I think Ryan Vogel both have disconnected prior to the end, but everybody else doing very well and making it to the checkered flag. Yeah. I think this class had the tightest battles throughout the most part of the race.
For sure. Yeah, this was we were talking about it before the stream got started. That GT4 I thought was going to be the field watch. I was actually more interested in seeing what was going to happen in GT4 AM, but GT4 Pro just like delivered the battles like constantly.
I think
yeah,
it's interesting to see what you happen in GT4 AM in terms of the championship, because that has the closest margins right now.
Oh yeah.
And I think that what we'll be excited about is what happens in between the two of them. So like when we go to talk about Chicago and the points haul that people come home with and where that puts them going into Chicago is going to be what we're going to be stoked about talking about next week.
Yep.
In 2 weeks time physically, but next race week.
Yep.
So,
but I think, yeah, I'm interested to see this battle in GT4 Pro continue, because Henry Garcia, again, coming away with some fantastic points. Tommy Kogan managing fourth after the incident at the start, him getting spun in the hairpin, managing to salvage fourth, really keeping his second place alive. So that's going to be like the field is going to tighten up in GT4 Pro a bit. But
do you want to know how much of a bad teammate I am? Not to
how's that?
to detract, but Vincent LaRue, my teammate, the person who won today, also won in the Sebring 12 hour, and I entirely forgot about that due to the craziness that we witnessed.
Oh, well, congratulations on that win as well, sir. That's pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, so he's won Sebring twice in 2 weeks in 2 different prototype cars, the LMP2 and the LMP3.
That is wild stuff. Last
but certainly
we were talking about GT4 AM.
Yeah.
Eduardo Zamora getting some good points. Going to be able to take the fight to Christopher Blue in the championship. Christopher Blue salvaging a third place finish. I say salvaging. He was part of that dry tire running group at the start of the race. Definitely lost a lot of time relative to the field in that first stint. I'm really kind of curious. I'm seriously curious where he would have finished relative to Eduardo Zamora had he started on wets.
Yeah.
Both him and Sean Sullivan. Because they finished more than 30 seconds adrift of Eduardo Zamora. So, but at the same time, too, they did finish ahead of a majority of the field that was also on wets.
What? I think it's just because they didn't have to stop. Like a good portion of the GT4 AM group stopped 4 times.
Yep.
Once put on wets, and then 2 more times for fuel and maybe a fresh set of dries. And they only stopped 3 times. So I am also genuinely curious, where they would have ended up had they started on wets and then swapped to dries, and then just fuel saved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that if at the end of the day, if they ended up sacrificing upwards of if take for example Sean Sullivan, if taking a look at his early laps, if he ended up sacrificing anywhere near 30 seconds worth of time while fighting those dry tires for like 16 to 18 laps, then I think it's a wash. But the one thing that I can do real quick, since we are getting ready to close the stream out, while you're doing that, I'm going to switch over the local mode. And what I want to do is see, no, it's not going to let me do it. So SDK still controls my client. That's fine. No big deal. I was going to go take a look at the data and see if I could tell from Sean Sullivan's lap times, like what was the delta between him and Eduardo Zamora. Because if it's 18 laps, if he is more than 2 seconds slower, that's 36 seconds.
Yep.
So, but we'll find out. And not only that, the guys will probably tell us all about it in Discord about how we got it wrong. If you guys want to join in and be a part of the community and hear about how wrong we were during the cast, feel free to check us out on the simgrid.com. Search host for Track Limits Racing. Join us on Discord. Rumor has it we might be seeing registration open up maybe before Chicago. So if you want to get in and be a part of the action for the Chicago Street Race, be sure that you're in the Discord. Be sure that you're following us on SimGrid to find out more.
Absolutely. Do we have somebody to raid?
We do not. I was looking around to see if I could find anybody that was doing multi-class stuff. Although actually, I may have just found somebody. I said that, and I was like clicking through, and I think I may have just found somebody. So I'm going to get that raid started while you get ready to send us off, sir.
Absolutely. So that has been the Sebring Track Limits Racing 250. I have been Fettuccine, one of your lovely hosts, along with Webcakes, Phil. It's been a blast as always. I love having you with us.
Yep.
And we'll look forward to seeing y'all in 2 weekends' time. April, remember the date?
I think that's 12th.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're killing it. April 12th. Back here, Chicago Street Race. I almost want to call it a street fight. It's not really a street fight. We're not really fighting another league, which I feel like more appropriate for a street fight. But we're going to Chicago Street Course, 90 minutes, not 2 hours. Not that it hasn't been a fantastic 2 hours, but we'll be a little bit more put together at the end of it and not just watching our brains fall out of our nose and trying to sign off. But
it's good stuff, man. It's all good. It's all good.
So we're going to raid TN Rocky Top. Am I getting that? I'm guessing best in Tennessee Rocky Top.
Yep.
Who is doing some multi-class racing in what variety?
I believe it's LMP3s and GT4s.
Oh,
so just like us. And at Sebring.
Wow, okay.
So did you want more Sebring?
Would you want
Sebring at night?
Oh, we're at night? Okay. That's doable.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's do it.
Good stuff.
And we'll see you all in a couple weekends.
Yep. Take it easy. Good night, everybody. And we're clear.